Luke, Luke, may the fourth be with you and be with you all. All right, waiting for people to come in. So far, no go. All right, let me ramble. Got five watching. Okay, got five watching. It's been a long day. Uh, hell, I'm wondering which is worse, Pookie or Ray Ray or Kanye. Hey, Char, what's going on? What's your drink of choice tonight? Yeah, oh yeah, I had to rest, especially after my last millennial. Dude gave me a headache, man. It's like I never seen such childlike behavior from a 30-year-old man. It's like uh, he's. It's like I said because I had to ask, dude, were you raised by a man? Did you have a man in your life? Because he kept saying, "I feel like, I feel like, I feel like." I said, man, stop using female language. Talk about you feel. It's always I feel, not what I think. And I'm just, I'm tired of the childlike behavior from grown men that are in their 30s, not in their 20s, but their 30s. And it's just, I guess it's just frustrating me because I'm starting to believe, I'm starting to feel that millennial women are far more mature than millennial men. I don't know what's going on with men. Oh, Alaska root red. Okay, I heard that. Uh, yeah, well, may the fourth be with you. uh, not even me. I think you. Well, Rihanna, I don't know if you were ever a child, Rihanna. You are so mature. So, um, you are anomaly. Let's put it that way. I mean, I'm listening to men that are in their 30s, and if they're talking like they're 19 years old, compared to you, you're 19 years old, and you're talking like you're 40. And these men are in their 30s, man. It's just frustrating. And it's always I feel, I feel, I feel. And so when you ask them about facts, they still I feel, I feel, I feel. What's a millennial? A millennial, if you go by the last by American standards, is from 19 they were born between 1982 and 2000. That's a millennial. Oh, you played Ready for the World. Okay, you ain't no freak. What's that one from? I don't recognize those lyrics. Hey, Bob, what's going on? Oh, Bob's in the house. Okay, Bob's in the house. Okay, hopefully Bob has done some reading this week. I see in what's it in the bar restaurant. Okay, can't hear, but I read fried. Oh, calamari noodles on point. Was it Hibiki Japanese whiskey? Yeah, or is that Hibiki or sake? Oh, you can't hear. Okay, I'm sure you're gonna hear it on the replay, Jarvis. Oh, Slow Jams by Kanye. I only heard a few of Kanye West um, songs. I'm not really that far into him. The few things that I have heard, I've liked, but um, 'cause as far as that stopped, well, I never really did memorize rap lyrics. It was just never my thing. Well, well, hopefully, hopefully you coalesce, coalesce these things. Craig Hewlett told us that if you want to get knowledgeable about something, you read 10 books of the same thing. And he said after about the fifth book, they repeat each other. So you take the stuff where they all meet up, where they all cross reference, and that is normally where the truth lies because you're coming at it from 10 different angles. Hey, what's going on, Ulysses? It has been a long week. Hey, Q. Oh man. Oh yeah, you should have tagged in. Oh, that's right. You were at work. So yeah, the mud wrestling was deep. I didn't mean for it to go that far. But we had a lot of people. ABL was on and the bitter truth and everybody kind of weighed in. I just wish they weigh in on something else other than a crazy ass Kanye West. Because if you don't think what he did at TMZ was borderline crazy, if not outright crazy, then I don't know what it is. So I had to take a nap, man, because it was like I was supposed to be on for an hour. Because actually I was on like an hour and a half with the bitter truth before that. So I stopped in for an hour so we can kind of get that Kanye West stuff cleaned out. And man, it turned out to be 5 hours. And and it made me sad because I used to have held out some hope for the black community that it was going to survive this absorption by the white community. But now um, we ain't going to start. We're not even going to start the slavery was the choice stuff because the slavery, nobody in the entire planet, no matter what race it is, would ever say slavery is a choice ever. Black people are the only people that ever said that. And I was listening to what Dr. Anderson said about if we had only fought back. The myth is that there is something called a black land in Africa amongst the African Americans. And Rihanna, who is um, from that culture, knows that there is no such thing. No, she's from a country, an African country, one African country that has five or six different peoples on that land, and know that black people aren't monolith. Well, you know, if it had come, if Kanye West had sat down and was coherent and actually, you know, not only intellectually but actually calmly talked about why he thought slavery was a choice, I'd have gone for it. But the thing is, you do it out of a rant, an insane rant, and that's what you pick up on, and people run with it. So I don't have any hope for us as a black community. Tribes are the same thing as peoples. We call them tribes, but the same thing as peoples. You know, if that's the case, all European, you know, they were tribes too, but they don't call themselves tribes. They call themselves peoples. Like the Eastern European, they come there's a mishmash of people. Before Germany became a country, there was like 100, you know, 100 different German groups, German peoples that they had to coalesce. I agree with you, Bob, about that being even talked about. I thought it was madness. That and Issa Rae, you know. Well, you know, we call it tribe. They call it tribal, but the thing is it's people or groups or basically the actual right term is clan rather than a tribe. It's a clan. So you have a clan of people that they group together. Yeah, oh yeah, he's been a nut he's been a nut for a long time. He's probably been in a padded room because they have to have they've done intervention on Kanye West. And what I'm saying is, what for people to take what he says as, in whole cloth, as you know, especially as millennials, and that take on white conservative talking points. I mean, you know, well beyond what even black conservatives would say, which just shocks me, it just stuns me. But this is the women's forum. We already did that much wrestling. Thanks, Donnell. That's a question for you, the ladies. Does a child owe their parents love and respect, or is it earned? If you want to stay alive, yes, you do. Okay. If basically, if you go from zero to whatever time you're out on your own, yes, you do owe them love and respect, because if not, you're not going to survive. That's just basic. That should be just basic. How to, you know, your parents don't owe you. If back in the old days, your parents didn't owe you a living because you were just a piece of flesh. And if you look at what happened to Europe, the Europeans and swaddling homes, a lot of European babies got sent off to die. So um, if you have to embrace your parents, at least as children, a love, honor, and respect, because that's the only way you're going to live. Because they don't have to feed you; you can't feed yourself. What I'm saying is far too many. You know, like I was talking to Kev, and he didn't know anything, but he kept interrupting and chiming in, and with some kind of fact that he thought he had. And when you question him about that fact, he didn't know anything about it. And then he changed to something else, which is I get a I get a lot. Hey Malika, Maybang, what's going on? Oh, Charlie, you can jump in anytime, babe. I'm just answering questions. I had because just real talk. About maybe 10 years ago, 10 maybe a little bit more than that. Um, we were talking about the assimilation process, and well, actually more than that. It's back. I think it was 2005. We had this question amongst our community. Were our are we asked that question to black folks: Are you American or are you Pan African or African? And the answer, the vast majority of people came back answering that they were American. So if you're American, that means you're probably going to be assimilated because you have American values. Once you accept American values, then you're on the path to being assimilated because the brainwash, the socialization has taken hold. And listening to the millennials talk about Kanye West, especially uh, white talking points that would have never even crossed the lips of any white person or any black person 10 years ago. But we have black millennials accepting this whole cloth. And that's just sad to me. That means because I came to the conclusion that it was probably hopeless, and that if you wanted to remain your offspring to remain black or remain black conscious, you needed to move away from the country. And I had a lot of disagreement that, okay, no, we can save these people, we can bring them back into conscious, we can coalesce these black folks. And 10 years later, I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing the exact opposite. And that basically this Kanye West thing is just proving it. Because you have accepted the white master's talking points, because that's what they've been saying for the last 30 years, and all of a sudden you hear it coming out of black people's mouths. It's like, okay, it's over. I
Well,
hope it's not. Yeah.
BGS, may I
Yes.
say something?
Yes, ma'am.
So, what I've noticed with like in hip hop, there are with Kanye specifically, a lot of his fans just parrot everything he says. Like they hold on to every little word he says.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't necessarily think that a lot of the people who are agreeing with Kanye really believe the conservative talking points. I really just think that they're saying what he says. It like if he went the completely different direction tomorrow, they would
Mm-hmm.
be saying the same exact thing.
You know what? I hope so. I hope so. But from what
Because
I'm hearing, it's they're swallowing this. If Kanye said you need to enslave yourself to white people, would they actually go out and do it again?
mm,
Because he said it. Because that's what you're saying. You're saying that slavery is acceptable, because the push to actually erase the slavery narrative altogether has been on for the last 10 years. Where you're trying to erase it from books, you're trying to call slaves immigrants. You had Ben Carson do that just a year and a half ago, saying that the black folks were they immigrated, a different kind of immigrant. Instead of on top of the boat, you're at the bottom of a boat, and it was tough.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the kind of narrative that you're hearing. And white people could never get away with saying that. In fact, you saw the shock on white folks' faces, like, did he just say that? And that's amazing to me. It wasn't shock. It's not shocking to black people. To white people, it was shocking that a black man would even say that.
Yeah, but I follow hip hop closely, and
Mm-hmm.
specifically with him,
Mm-hmm.
Drake, and like a couple of other rappers or like hip hop artists. A lot of their fans just nothing they say or do is wrong. So my problem isn't so much with Kanye West because he's basically an attention whore. I feel like he said that like for a mix of two different reasons, because he has a mental illness and
Mm-hmm.
because he might be trying to sell some music, because he did this with his last tour, talking about if I didn't vote, but if I would have voted for Donald Trump.
Okay, I believe that.
Like he said that like about a year and a half ago, and I don't know why people don't remember that,
Mm-hmm.
but he did that, and again it was like the same reaction, Kanye's a genius. Yeah, Kanye. My problem is more with the people who just, hang on to every word he says, and then, they go into the whole free thinker thing. And I'm like, how are you a free thinker if you're copying what another man is saying?
Mm-hmm. Uh, yeah, that's true. And basically, you haven't even come to that conclusion by yourself. You're basically because I question them, and nobody has any answer. Well, I believe that he's going to shake up black folks, and he's going to actually free black people's minds. I'm saying, are you kidding me? And that's what I've heard. That's what I've heard over the last couple of days. 'Cause I didn't think it was that big a deal. I said the dude is nuts. Well, no, he's not really nuts. I said maybe I'm looking from bizarro land, and it's far too many because you read my comment section,
Yeah.
and those aren't all just Kanye fans. I've heard stuff like this before, from millennials. Like, okay, we were better off before civil rights. Until
Yeah,
you
I've heard that
until you
talking.
until you start presenting them with facts, like the two guys that just found dead in Oklahoma in the lake. Okay, that
Hmm.
right before civil rights, they wouldn't even go looking for those guys. They would have
Mm-mm.
not even looked for them.
Yeah, that's true.
You,
That's
you, you,
crazy, by
you,
the way. I
you
just watched that video a couple of minutes ago
I mean,
about
I
the.
mean, I mean, you from Louisiana. You heard the stories because Louisiana is still semi backwards as far as that kind of stuff is concerned. I know you've heard the stories about people disappearing in
Hmm.
Louisiana.
Oh yeah, like you know how like a lot of people talk about their dads weren't around.
Hmm.
A lot of times what'll happen is the dad will go to the store. Like he
Hmm.
better not go to the store at night
Oh yeah.
in certain places,
Yep.
because he might be an absentee father, quote unquote,
Yeah.
because somebody snatched him up and killed
And
him.
killed him. Yeah. And you never find these people again. And
Yeah.
so we talk about lynching. I said lynching. Lynching was there as an example to the rest of the community. Okay, if they just wanted to get rid of you, I can't remember the dude's name, the little boy's name at the top of my hat. Like when they killed him, they threw him in the river. His body was never supposed to be found.
Ooh, Emmett Till?
Emmett Till, his body wasn't supposed to be
Mm.
found because they put stuff around him and they weighed him down and threw him into the river. It's just the grace of God that they found his body. He wasn't supposed to be found. And there's countless of black men like that felt that went afoul of the white collective and were just disappeared. They were never found again. And that's what black folks don't remember because in fact, I had a lady in my comment section. She said she's in her mid 50s. She said when she was 12, a cop pulled up to her and her brother when they were out in the front yard. The cop said something to the brother and told him to get in the car. and he was 16. They never saw him again. She said she has never seen or heard from him ever again. And she said that was 40 some odd years ago. The family just never heard from him again.
And I guess, of course, they weren't gonna look for him.
Was the family? No, the police did. Well, no, the police didn't look for him because the police took him. Yeah. And they had no question. They had no answer for where he went. But back then, you had to accept it because you didn't have rights. I'm trying to, to let millennials know. You say it was better before the civil rights movement. I said, why do you think the civil rights actually happened? I said the civil rights actually started in 1945 when African American soldiers came home and were being hung in their uniform. That's why it started. It didn't start. It didn't start in 1960. 1965 was the end of the legislation. It wasn't the beginning.
Well, I hear that talking point more when they talk about like how integration kind of killed Black business. That's where I mostly hear that when they talk about we were better off before civil rights.
Okay, yeah. What I'm saying is they say it all the time, but they have no proof. They just say it.
Mm-hmm.
And evidently, I'm saying is so Black folks, because it's really a jab at boomers. Because if boomers hadn't got us into this mess, we'd still be in Black land, happy go lucky and doing our thing. Because that's what they believe. Boomers. The boomers weren't. If boomers were so happy, they would have never left.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
I'm just saying that I hear that talking point more when they talk about economics. They don't really talk about like the other factors, like how you said, like the whole lynchings and people disappearing and stuff. Like they don't ever cover that part, but they talk about supporting Black businesses and stuff like that. I guess they just want Black people to.
What I'm saying is, if you talk about Black businesses, you got secondhand stuff, right? Because I'm old enough to remember where the Black supermarket that you went to got secondhand food from the white supermarket.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're not old enough to remember that. Back when Char might be, because Char might be old enough to remember that when the reason you went to a white store or wanted to go to a white grocery store, because they got the fresh stuff. They got the fresh food. If there was meat, it was fresh. If it was fruit, it was fresh. If you went to a Black store, they always got it secondhand.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like the Black businesses could get the same stuff that the white store gets. What millennials think, or I think what young folks think, is that back in the 60s, America has always been a level playing field, and they don't realize that the America that you see now, to where you at least have somewhat closer to a level playing field now, was not the America that I grew up in as a kid. Not even close. But I keep getting that. But you guys are on here, and this is your show. I didn't mean to bring my show over into you guys. So, what do you guys want to talk about?
Well, I guess
I have if I could just add in quickly to what Kat said, because I was thinking the same thing when I was listening to this kid. At first, I kind of thought, okay, he is on the conservative side, but then some things he said started making me realize. It just reminded me of the time when I was in like high school and everyone worshipped Kanye. They thought he was like the second coming of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, this kid just sounded like that. Like anything Kanye opens minds, man. Kanye, whatever, man. Anything Kanye says, he's the greatest, man. Like he's
the thing is, if he was a kid, he's 30 years old. That's the problem.
You know what, BGS? I remember when he said that, and I literally said in the chat room, like, bullshit. If this kid's over 21, I would die of shock. Like, he sounds really, really young.
And the guy before him was 37.
Oh, yeah.
37, really?
Yeah, 37. I'm like, this is because when I talk about, because millennials get mad when I say you guys have a delayed maturity, because I have 3 of them, and I talked to my son. My son's going to be 32 in a few months, And sometimes the only thing that made him grow up, and I'm gonna tell you, which is why I think men, which is the reason I think men should have at least one child. The only thing that made him grow up because he has a son. Otherwise, he'd be talking exactly like these people here. So I know it's like, that's like I ask them how old they are, and they don't want to tell me because they know what I'm going to say. I said,
Right.
At what point do you start to mature? You're going to be 50? I'm just
Yeah. And you
go
know
ahead.
what?
Go ahead,
Like that makes perfect sense though, because you know what? I mean, if he was 30, that means that in high school, when he was in middle school or so, whatever, is when Kanye came out, and everyone thought again he was the second coming of Jesus, and he just never grew up. Like so many of the millennials that are waiting until 35, 40 to start thinking even remotely like grown-ups, like adults, because they don't get what that means. They think that literally age. They are 21 years old, therefore they are grown now. They are 25 years old, therefore if they have an opinion they must be right, and yet they still hold on to ridiculous things like their teenage idols are still the second coming of Jesus, and everything they say is blowing their minds, and oh my god, he's so insightful.
Because like I was talking to Kev after, because he pissed me off so much, I had to have him on by himself. And he kept saying, in fact, both of them kept saying, I feel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's like, I said, I was telling him, I said, I have more coherent logic for my women than you guys.
Well, and you know what I noticed, BGS, is that he literally couldn't. So if there was like, let's say 2 beats of silence after he finished speaking, he couldn't help but go, but it is true. It is. It is true.
Yeah.
Well, can I say something real quick?
Go ahead, Katz.
So at this rate, us millennials will have our midlife crises at like
60.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully,
like at 70 years old.
Basically, yeah. So hopefully, you guys do live to be 120 or 130. By the grace of God, the improvements will have it so that you guys do live that long. I would love to be on that side to live that long, but but it looks like you are adjusting your midlife crisis or to your maturity till after 50 or 60.
Oh man, Ulysses just put 80 in the chat room.
Wait, Ulysses is seeing the exact same thing that I'm seeing. It's like it would be one thing. Like I kind of sort of expect it out of women a little bit because they come from an emotional place. But the thing is, because women deal with it all the time, they're kind of in touch with it and have it kind of a little bit under control. But you have emotional guys that are dealing in their emotion and don't know how to deal with it. They deal with it like children. It's like, okay, you don't have any logical maturity or any emotional maturity. Like he kept saying it is true. He kept blurting out, like I said, you kept blurting out stuff that was wrong, like a 5-year-old, like somebody that's 10 years old.
Yeah, and it was amazing to me. That's what I just couldn't believe he kept doing that. It's one thing for the I feel like you kind of expect this from these effeminate kind of male minds these days. But what it was but it is true at the end of everything. Like you hadn't even started speaking. He just couldn't stand the silence. Like unless you're going right, or even if you had started off saying you're wrong, but the silence killed him, and it was like a second. He couldn't do it. Right? Like, you're that insecure, you can't deal with 2 seconds.
He saying a silence, yeah, because he has nothing to defend it, and anybody that's listened to me, for any length of time, knowing that if you come up with a stance or you say something, especially if it's controversial, I'm going to challenge it. So you have to know what you're talking about. Otherwise, you got to be quiet. I don't do that to be mean to people. I do that so that when you guys go out into the world and you start talking about stuff, you start discussing stuff, then you have your shit together. So basically, you can go in with from the guy on the street to the PhD and be good because your logic and what you know is solid. And if it's not, you guys, it's like you're supposed to, okay, now I'm going to listen and learn, because either you're a teacher or a student.
And that was actually really annoying me. There was a couple people in the chat room who were saying something like, oh, you guys just want this to be an echo chamber. And I'm like, you haven't watched this channel for long enough, obviously, because that's the way I see it. Because at no point has anyone ever said to me, well, you know what, if you don't agree with what BGS is saying, what Cerulean is saying, or what whoever is saying, well, that's it. You can't be here, or you're an idiot. It's just, no, you need to be able to argue your point. If you don't have enough information to continue past where you are in this argument, you need more information. Go collect more information. Go strengthen your argument. Go strengthen your knowledge, because clearly there's a giant gap in your knowledge somewhere. Go fix that, right? Like,
basically, on my channels, especially my Hangouts, we hear all points of view, and we go in any direction wherever the conversation takes us. It's not. My channel is not about rhetoric. In fact, I don't like rhetoric. If Ruby says something, I question what she says. You got to explain to us what you just said. If you say, you give me a statement, or you give me a concept, I stop you. No, explain that concept, because I don't understand.
Right.
Which annoys people. It annoys people. But the thing is, I challenge people on the concept. It annoys the fuck out of people. I didn't finish what I'm saying. I know. But the thing is, you said something and I don't understand where you're coming from. So I want you to stop right what you're doing and explain yourself about what you just said.
Yeah.
It annoys a lot of people. But the thing is, it does strengthen your argument, though.
You know what? It does. Okay. I find, the reason why I find it annoying is because I lose track of what I was saying. So then it's like, now go back to what you're saying. I don't remember anymore, but I had a great point, and I
just lost it.
You gotta write your points down then.
Yeah, right. I gotta do something.
If you know something and you have an argument, okay, it shouldn't be something where you had to go from A to B to C. You should know it no matter how much you skip around, because you know it so well.
Oh yeah, no, but I mean, like, literally that sentence. You have that perfect phrasing.
Oh yeah.
You can land a punch. It's like you stop me in the middle of the punch, like I'm swinging and I gotta stop.
Oh yeah.
And now it's like, now go in from the middle and keep going. Like
yeah. When I fade or I duck, you gotta adjust that punch in mid-flight, or you're gonna miss.
But you know what? What I noticed though, it's with the issue, like for this guy or these guys earlier, is that wasn't the issue. They weren't annoyed because like me, like, no, I had momentum. Let me finish the sentence. I have a punch, then I'll go back.
Yeah.
It's because they wanted to avoid answering. Like, I've never in my life, I was screaming from the chat, answer the question. Like, I don't understand how. I know I do it on occasion. Like, I'm not saying I don't, but I'm saying he did it. He never answered a direct question.
No. The thing is, we might not agree with your answer.
Right.
But you will answer. All the women will answer the question. Might agree with it, but the thing is, I guess because women come from feeling, so if they feel that they're right, they will actually answer the question. Men feel an answer, know that, okay, I feel it, but I don't have anything to back it up, like logic. So I'm going to avoid it, because even ABL did the same thing. Right? And all of a sudden, you're the smartest guy in the room, but all of a sudden we ask you a simple question. Then all of a sudden you don't know.
But you know what bothered me was this. When you were just like, repeat what you just said.
Oh yeah.
Dude, just repeat what you said. Like I was freaking out over here, right?
Because a lot of times I notice it, Bob's in the chat, I noticed that with Bob. Okay. They don't, for whatever reason it is, millennial males or even males today don't listen. They half listen, so they responded to something. Well, they're really not responding to you. They responded to what they think that you're gonna say.
Right.
Yeah, they're trying to one up you before, like they think know where you're going, and they don't have any clue. Just answer the question, and then what comes of it comes out. Don't try to well, let me see if I can try to stomp him.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if at this particular level, and I think I'm at that level because I've talked to people that are at that level. At this particular level, there's certain agreements that you have, like Ruby in her profession, in her field of study. There's certain things that you just know. That's not even something to argue about, because everybody's been taught. Everybody knows it, so you don't even start there. You already have an agreement. And people at that level already have a certain agreement, like the Great Society. Because people bring up points that they don't even know anything about. He's talking about, well, what about the Great Society? Because it did that and the other. I said, no, it didn't.
Oh my God, that was painful.
And then then I said, okay, what do you know about the Great Society? And then you start hum and 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 I said, why did you bring it up if you don't know anything about it?
Right. Well, he was like, I watched your videos. I watched whatever. Okay, so then what did I say in my video? Since you used my video as a reference, okay, pretty much what I heard. What you heard? What did he say? Like, I don't understand.
So what I'm saying is, it's frustrating. You know, sometimes it's frustrating talking to people like that because, but my teacher used to call, Dadis used to call it compound ignorance. And simple ignorance is when you just haven't been exposed. You just don't know something.
Right.
But compound ignorance is when you don't know something, but you think that you do. You think that you're right.
Yes.
And nobody can penetrate it. So you have to get rid of the need to be right first before you get to the simple ignorance. That's what he used to call compound ignorance, and that's frustrating.
Right. I mean, even his points about Kanye. Well, Kanye's opening minds, how when he finally gave an answer, was like, well, you know, to not be sold in the Democratic thingy, because when Kanye with the thing, wasn't it the thing that made Kanye change his mind about the Democratic? Like, he didn't even know what he was saying. I was just like, your argument? Like, I don't understand. You keep bringing up shit. And then it's like, because he was like, well, you're off topic, even though he kept bringing it off topic. Okay, we're back on Kanye now. You still don't have an argument. You have no idea what the hell you're talking about. Why are you here? Why are you shutting your mouth, sitting in the chat room and just listening and learning something? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, well, I'm saying, why in other words, we kept having to tell him to be quiet, and even had to get rid of ABL because he kept helping him. I said, why are you helping this dude? Okay.
Right.
You were answering for him. I said, ABL, I'm not talking to you. Why are you answering for him? Like like it's your child. You try to give him the answers. I get that with my mother and my daughter, with my grandson, because I'm trying to get him to answer the question, and he's struggling. And say, like with spelling words, right? I'm trying to get him to recite the spelling words to actually work his brain, right? Well, where he actually will remember stuff, right? And they'll walk by and give the answer. I said, you just ruined 5 minutes of work by giving the answer.
Right. Now it's over. He can't go and unhear that.
No.
And you know what? And the worst part about ABL, though, and this is where you can tell that there's an issue with this male mindset and male thinking, because then he started going, I'm not going to answer the question. Well, I already answered you once. I'm not going to answer again. No, I'm not going to answer again. And that's he just repeated it over and over and over again. When it's like, really, like, do you think that this was you acting like a grown man, asserting your dominance, asserting your rights? Like, I don't understand why you think that this is mature behavior. You sound like a teenager. I don't have to say it again. Like,
you know what? I think that and I don't say it when I say feminized. I don't say it that the feminine is negative. Okay, and what I'm saying is that the feminizing males is unnatural, in my opinion, and and you have a logically structured brain that's been forced to become emotional, and what you get is what you get is an amalgamation that doesn't work. So you get guys that fall back on feminine thinking when they're forced to deal with their logical brain, and basically you get this mess. Same thing with women that are forced to be masculine or be overly logical. It's all right for women to naturally develop their own logic, their own masculine mind over time, but to be forced into it before they actually get grounded in their own femininity, then you get this mess that we have. And I think second wave feminism is now seeing their mistake. Like, okay, we forced these children into something because we thought that they were blank slates, and we're finding out that they're not. Now, how do we fix what we just did?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I mean, you can see it overall. Our men are, like you said, that there's this feminized thinking that overall, like, I mean, it's weird to me because, for example, so men you see them, two black men pass each other anywhere in the world, they nod at each other.
Yes.
The ones that don't do that are weird. They're the off ones, right?
They're scared.
So that tells you exactly. So that tells you the men are the ones that are the community in and of itself, because they all feel that naturally. Women don't do that with each other. So, you know, the men bring literally a community together and have a belongingness. Like, I look at you, I see you, you're mine, you know, and whatever. And then the women follow suit. Yeah. So in and of itself, women being the head of community doesn't make sense, because they don't have that. You can just see little tiny quirks that are internal about women. When two women pass each other, from far away, what are they doing? Sizing each other up to see if they're better than the other woman, or worse than the other woman, or what she has. You know, that's not, you know, but if you're forcing the woman to then be in that position, he doesn't naturally have those little quirks. They're little brain quirks that pull it all together for you and make it natural. Right. Same way with proper feminized thinking from women. Women, for example, are really excellent as far as logic at problem solving, something that women are good at doing. So a woman using her problem solving skills would be a good thing. A woman having to out logic someone when it comes to dominance, that's not what we were made to do. So you're going to see that fail, because you're trying to protect house and home the way a man would, and you can't, because that's not what you were made to do. You were made to maybe solve the problem at home of how do you make this food stretch this way and whatever, and how do you know, there are other problems that we were literally created to fix. And then, you know, that goes into our community as well. There are other problems we were created to handle and to fix, and the men were created. And it's like literally we've tried to swap roles, but that doesn't work because we're not meant to.
Because they wanted to make you guys interchangeable. That was the whole thing. In fact, who is it? Quigley actually, I probably have to replay that speech where he actually gave it. He wanted to they wanted to make people into atomized individuals. In other words, units that they could actually swap out between between any role. So in other words, you actually put a woman in the place of a man and vice versa. It's supposed to work. That's what the end of Men and the Richer Sex were actually trying to say. Okay, we put you guys into the role of the provider, or the male provider, and you guys aren't acting like male providers. You're acting like women. They said you're going to have to change your mindset if you want this thing to work. That's what they were saying.
We can't.
Well, yeah, but basically a lot of second wave feminists are saying, okay, we found out that they can't do it because the roles in the family were actually set up organically. They didn't just come out somebody's brain and say we're gonna make men act a certain way or make women act a certain way. That's the way men and women just act organically. So you build the roles up around what people are actually doing anyway.
Well, and it's more logical. You think about 10,000 years ago, when we stopped kind of evolving because we stopped being under such selection pressures.
Actually look at the Jawara clan whose groups go back 60,000 years. You see the exact same structures.
Well, exactly, and that's the thing, because women, for example, so you're bearing the baby. So while you're pregnant with the baby, you going on a hunt, for example, would be very stupid. Because you could fall, you could be attacked. And the whole point of survival, part of survival is you staying alive. The second part of it is passing down your genes. So that means she's got to stay close to home. So what does she know how to do? She knows how to forage, collecting nuts, berries, and whatever. That's why women's eyesight is more specific, and we can see different shades of red, but men can't see, because men didn't need to develop those skills because they were out hunting. So they know how to, for example, they could travel really far from base, and they know how to make a beeline back home. It's just something built into their brain. We are literally built to be certain things. Women are food for their children for the first couple of years. They can be. So
Edward, what I'm trying to tell you is that women didn't decide that. Okay, it was decided by the managers of this society, or Western society. This was imposed upon them. They start training the children this way. Women didn't decide one day that they wanted to be head of the family. They were forced into that role.
Nope. I mean, like, I know, and I don't know, you're going to have to help me with the details, because I do remember that there was that point in time where, all the men went off to war and the women had to go work in the factories and stuff and be primary caregivers and as well primary providers. And then when the men came home, And again, I don't know if this is just feminist teachings because I only vaguely remember it. But the men came home, the women had to go back to just being at home, and then they were dissatisfied with just being at home because they had been able to be practical outside of the home. So, you know, they wanted to also provide. So I don't know if that is around the same time, because I don't remember even what war
they wanted more choice, but it's not but they didn't want to take over the male role, and the vast majority of them didn't. The vast majority of women still wanted traditional families. It was just a small group of women that didn't, but mostly the elite women that wanted more choice.
Oh, okay.
Mostly, if you look at it, the vast majority of feminists were elite. They weren't the woman on the street. The woman on the street just wanted a man to actually raise her family. She went to work because she had to. The vast majority of women, you know, especially black women, had to work. You know, the vast majority of black women are already more educated than their men.
Okay.
Back then, in fact, most black men did not pass sixth grade as far as learning before the 1960s.
Oh, okay.
In fact, there was a video by Hezekiah. They're actually talking about it. He said before the mid 60s, 50% of men never graduated high school. I mean, all men. And I think for black men, I think it was well over 50. It was more like 60 or 70% of black men never graduated high school because you don't need, for physical labor and that kind of stuff, you really don't need that kind of education. And it wasn't until it really wasn't until the 1968 with the Kerner Commission, it said that we found out that most black men, because of the modern workforce and the stuff that you had to know, they had to send all these black men back to be re-educated because they weren't up to snuff to actually take the jobs that were actually coming, the factory jobs. We had to learn how to read, write, and kind of understand better. They actually literally had to go back and start re-educating all these men. And then going forward, they had to make sure that black men or all men had to have at least a high school education because of the because of the armed forces being more modernized, and two. Okay, you can jump in anytime, Charles. Just go ahead and announce what the question is. But that's what they found out. So this is literally rolling rolling circumstance. It wasn't something that's set in stone. So basically, so they try to reorganize the society in a way that they thought would work, and find out, 50 years later that, okay, this is just not working. Okay, we thought that the blank slate was actually true, because you hear that once feminists talk that there is no difference between male and female. Used to hear that all the time. I'm sure you heard that, Ruby, where men and women are exactly the same. Or pretty much the same. You hear that a lot, that there's no difference. And the thing is, 50 years later, 60 years later, you find out, okay, that's not necessarily true, because the work that you're doing, you find out, okay, that's not true. Okay, there is biological structures and male and female brains and male and female bodies that give them a different worldview and a different outlook.
Well, and it's a very westernized kind of ideal, because I mean, even my mom, having come here in like 1970, she never really thought that. You talk to a lot of people who are immigrants or even first generation, and they like snicker at things like that. Like, what kind of foolishness is that? What kind of foolishness is it for you to think things like that? Like, it's just, the mindset is so different when you're not kind of corrupted by the Western world.
By the Western elites actually re-socialize the population because they thought it would work. And it's not the first time that they've done it. But go ahead, Char, introduce the topic. Unless you want me to do it. Did you want me to do it? Yeah.
All right. Hello there. Hello.
Hello there. Speak up a little bit. I'm going to give you a little bit more sound.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you.
All right. The question or topic is, and I'll read it just one part at a time. How long does it take for a man to know? Wait a minute. Who wrote this? How long does it take to know a man is worth sleeping with?
Ooh, okay, that's a good question. Mm.
So that's the first part of it.
Mm-hmm.
For me, let me see. I got to go back when dating.
But
Let's
ain't that
see.
long
Let's
ago.
see. Yeah, I've been with my dude for a little while. I'm trying to remember.
Okay.
Well, I start with on the phone and all that stuff.
Oh,
So
you go old school. Okay.
yeah, so with the calls and all that, and the first date, I get a pretty much good sense about, mm, I'll say 1 week.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to sleep with you within 1 week. I'll put it that way.
So it's not sleep with at first sight.
No, you may get my temperature to rise, but that's about it. I'm not going to.
You're fading on us, babe.
Can you hear me now?
Barely. Are you? How far away are you from the mic?
I am right here. I might
Okay.
need a new mic. Might be
For whatever reason, you're fading. Can you guys hear her?
I hear the same thing.
Okay.
Uh-oh, maybe I need to change
Oh,
headphones then.
yeah, this is
Is it?
great. You got better.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Uh, what part did you not hear? Last
You
sentence?
started fading out after the first week. I asked you, was it sleep with at first sight? And you started to say something. You started fading.
Oh, I said you may get my temperature to rise, but I'm not going to move that fast just because, the attraction.
Okay. So you don't know whether you know that there's an attraction, but you know whether he's worth sleeping with her at the time.
Yeah, I don't know
Okay.
if I have a psycho, I can't get rid of you, and
Oh
if I want
yeah.
to be bothered with you
Oh,
and all that
I
good stuff.
I know about that. That goes on the male side too. After experience.
I need a good week. Got a
Hey,
good week. I'm like,
hey,
okay.
you good? You're better than me because it's like 30 days with me.
Uh,
If it's 30 days before you know where I live. Let's put it that way.
oh yeah,
I'll sleep
yeah,
with you, but if you have to know where I live, got to know
yeah.
you at least 30 days. At least 30 days.
Right.
Yeah.
I know that's right. I'm with you on that.
Anybody want to chime in? I know
Next.
you got stories, Ruby. You got stories.
Uh-oh.
Go ahead.
um, well, I think that now the question of whether or not I think he's worth sleeping with, or if he's that kind of guy that I would sleep with, I
Hmm.
decide that probably I'll say it depends on how much I see them. So I'll say probably within 3 to 5 dates, I'll have a good idea with whether or not he's kind of the guy I would want to sleep with. And
Hmm.
also some questions, because I'll ask some common questions. Like, for example, I will ask, do you mind getting tested? Because
Hmm.
that is major to me and stuff like that. And,
Hmm.
I kind of want to get a gauge on how honest he is with himself regarding his sexual history, interests, whatever, because I feel like people who are too skittish with those things are people who do a lot of things in the dark behind closed doors. And, kind of when you're hiding things, I feel like that's the time that you're the most irresponsible. And I don't want to set myself up with someone who's irresponsible and whatever. So I'll decide within 3 to 5 dates that I'd sleep with him. But
Okay.
on the other hand, I could make the decision to
Hmm.
sleep with him. It doesn't mean that I'm going to then do it immediately or even say, hey, get tested immediately.
Hmm.
Because to me, that involves like kind of commitment.
Okay, but you might have made the decision uh, well before, but to actually act, it's actually further on down the line.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like, for me at least, like I know not everyone's like this. For
Hmm.
me, like I said, I need that commitment, agreement to be monogamous and hey, let's go get tested. We're gonna be
Hmm.
monogamous thereafter and then we'll have sex.
Hmm.
Um, but I think that and I'll let him know that as well. Like I'm not waiting forever or whatever, and I'm interested in you. I'm
Hmm.
not messing around with other people, whatever. I'm interested in you, but we need to build and grow for us to
Uh-huh.
get to that place. And
Hmm.
yeah, like make out with you and blah blah blah. But I see it happening with you.
Hmm.
I like you, so let's just, as long as we keep going down this good trajectory, we're gonna get there.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. All right. Anybody else? Cats. You got
Cat.
cats.
Meow.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Give us some hot sauce, baby.
hmm
So with me, it was like it was a guy I knew.
Mm-hmm.
But we had known each other for years.
Okay.
Like we'd been friends. So that's like my only experience. So like I don't really know how long I would really wait because that was somebody I'd known for years.
Okay. So
And
so oh, you had known him for years. What turned the trick? Had you always been attracted to him, or is just one day you saw him in a different light? What happened?
I had always liked him. I don't know if he had always liked me though.
Oh, okay. So in other words, the attraction was always there. You just hadn't acted it out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And this was over time because you actually knew him over time, which is how it should work. You should actually observe a person over months, maybe even years before you actually go into that act. I even tell guys, old school players used to put women in into their what they call farm system. In other words, say me and Ruby met and we exchanged numbers. Okay, I wouldn't sleep with Ruby for a year because she had to work her way up into the big leagues, and until she worked her way up into the big leagues, I wouldn't sleep with her. You know, I would talk to her on the phone. I would jive with her. I might, we go to the next steps. Like 3 months later, go to lunch or even a picnic or something like that. Wouldn't even sleep with each other. And then as we progressed until she actually hit the point where okay, now she's acceptable for me to be slept with or treated like a significant other. Then I would actually move her into the big leagues. But I already have somebody in the big leagues already. In other words, I got them dealing with somebody on that in the big leagues until she's ready to come up out of the farm system. You know, by the time I'm sleeping with her, I already know who she really is and what she's like. I've already vetted her, and that's old school. So a guy, it's like old school players would have at least 3 or 4 women in their rotation, and they would actually start with the number and then on the phone and then maybe a date or two here or there, and they would actually move on the chain, and a lot of them would actually fall off. Okay, now I can't deal with her. She kind of fell off, so I'm going to replace her with somebody else. That's how it would work.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's old school, but a lot of guys now want instant gratification. I see her, I like her, she got a big ass, I want to sleep with her right now. How do I do that? I said, come on, man. Respect yourself better than that. Okay. That's how come they get in a lot of trouble with women, because you're tapping into her emotional core before you really know her. And if you're good at what you do, now you have a chick that's emotionally attached to you that doesn't jive with you intellectually or anything else. So now how do I get out of this situation? Because I've been there. You know, I got into something and said, damn, how do I get out of this shit? She won't leave. How do I get out? Because I didn't vet her. So I learned okay, you have to vet these women ahead of time. Lady Kendra, do you want to weigh in on this with your limited experience? Okay.
Shut up.
You ain't got enough bodies. 16-year-olds have more bodies on their coochie than you do. All right.
They do.
Yeah. I'm just teasing you.
But you know, when do I have sex with a guy? That's all organic. I'm not, oh, it's got to be 60 days. It's got to be 30 days. It's got to be 3 weeks. You know, I don't have necessarily a time on it. I got to feel comfortable with you. Usually when I say organic, there's some type of relationship it was, even if it wasn't started out as a romantic relationship. Even if it didn't start out a romantic relationship.
Oh, no, we'll deal with it. Go ahead, baby. Keep going.
But what I'm not gonna tolerate is bypassing me for my Hello Kitty. You're not gonna bypass me to get to her. You got to go through me to get to her.
Oh, do we have to work there? We can't talk to her directly.
You cannot. The only way she gets talked to directly is if that's how we coming at each other in the first place.
Okay.
This is a one night stand. This is not trying to be a relationship. This is just I saw you, you saw me. Let's get this going, and it's not nothing else after that, and we both understand that.
Okay.
But if it's trying to be like you coming at me like it's gonna be a relationship or like you interested in a relationship, well then if you think I'm gonna hop into bed with you after 24 hours, you're sadly mistaken.
Okay.
And you walking away because I'm making you wait too long, that's fine with me too. Cause see, I'm not scared of the walk away.
Okay. You're willing to take the L.
Yep.
Okay, which is unusual for a woman.
Well, this is well the way I see it. This is my Hello Kitty. This don't belong to you.
Well, yeah,
So you don't have a.
we're not we just want to talk to her. We ain't trying to.
You just want
take
to
her home.
talk to her. I get it. You want to
Yeah.
talk to her. You want to take her out
Yeah,
for,
yeah,
you know,
take her for a spin, or a good
take her for a spin. I get it. I get it. And the thing about it is, if I'm talking to you and I'm really getting to know you, I've already decided whether or not we're gonna have sex.
Okay,
I've already decided that.
That was the question. How long does it take before you know that a guy is worthy of sex? How long does that take?
Well, see that question is worthy of sex, which is different from whether or not I'm sexually attracted, because I can be sexually attracted on sight.
Okay.
But whether or not he's worthy of it, again, that depends on who he shows himself to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not necessarily putting a qualifier on it. You just be who you are, and I decide whether or not that's cool with me.
Mm-hmm.
Because the way I always thought about it is, what if I get pregnant by you? I mean, I don't have to really worry about that now, but then I did. Well, what if I get pregnant by you?
Well, if you grow up with that, it's kind of hard for that not to be in the back of your mind, even if you're past that.
Exactly.
Even if you're past that age where of conception. Yeah.
Exactly. So, it was like, okay, well, what if I do have a kid with you? This is awkward. I don't even really know you, and I don't really know what kind of person you are. I mean, we didn't get into it for this. So now there's another facet to it. I was always thinking a few steps ahead. So it's like, okay, well, at least I got to know something about you. You got to, and I'm a pretty good judge of character.
Yeah,
so that helps me.
Growing up the way you do, growing up the way you grew up, you have to be, because
you have to be.
You have to be. So
so I can vet you quickly.
Yeah.
And if you're not worthy, I won't even bother to talk to you, because the other thing I don't like to do is do what I term as leading a guy on, or leading him to think it could be something that it's not ever gonna be. So I don't waste his time. If it's a no, it's a no from the beginning.
Yeah, you know what? So you're kind of different from most women, because most women get emotionally attached. Even if they don't want to give up sex, they don't want to give up the emotional connection they have with a guy. So a lot of women wind up sleeping with a guy because she don't want to go through emotional withdrawal from him. That's like a lot of guys pressure a woman into having a girl or a woman to having sex, because he doesn't know it, because it's not on his mind, but he's actually drawn her in emotionally, and she's emotionally addicted to him. So she has to go through those. She don't want to go through those emotional withdrawals, so she actually sleeps with it, even though she
exactly.
Yeah, that happens
and
a lot.
See, when I approached men with the mindset that we're gonna try to date, I never went into it with my heart in the first place. I went into it with my head. I even went into my marriage like that.
Okay.
So you don't capture me that way, and even if you do, I liked to wait past the infatuation. Oh my God, he's just so fine, girl. I got to have him. I wait past that.
So I'm saying that's old school. How as a woman, how do you do that? Because that's unusual for a woman to actually go into a relationship with her head. How do you do that?
By being hurt and not wanting to be hurt by people.
Okay. What I'm saying is, I'm talking about mentally. How do you get yourself in the mind frame of looking at a man logically and pushing all that emotion aside, because I know you feel it.
It's very difficult, because Hello Kitty is very,
she's
very
purring.
vocal.
She's purring,
she's ready to go. She likes to go onto this spin. She likes those spins that he wants to take her on. She loves them. But what you have to do is you have to ignore that bitch. Okay, because she gets you in a lot of trouble. Okay, ignore that bitch, because she's a horrible influence. So
ignore that bit.
All I do is I just wait. I just be around the guy, but I try to get past that infatuation phase.
Okay.
It only takes about 2 weeks or so. Get past the rose-colored glasses and seeing hearts every time you see that guy, and your heart beats a little faster.
So you have to put your feet back on the ground because you're like 6 inches off the ground when you're around him, huh?
Exactly. Okay. So it takes a lot of concentration. I mean, because I'm not very hard to if I like you, it's not hard for me to be swayed into being around you and being with you and kind of getting on your program. Like I'm real easy going that way. And so since I know that about myself, that will get me in trouble. So it's like, okay, back up for a minute because your heart is pitter pattering every time you come around him, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with it. But Hello Kitty talking to you, ignore her.
And you keep him like the Ella Roger Carey, keep him out of your left ear.
Yeah, ignore her. And if you go past that infatuation stage, you can think a little bit clearer and make a better decision about whether or not you actually want to have sex with him or whether you do.
So you have to get past the initial infatuation stage.
Yes.
Okay. All right. What do you think, Ruby? You wanted to chime in on that?
Well, I think that, and I mean, again, I don't maybe think like other people, but
no.
So, for me, because I said like for me that initial thing, and like I really wonder what's wrong with me that I don't have it, because my initial thing when I like meet people and whatever, like even if I look at them and I think that they are visually like attractive people, I don't have like an initial sexual response to people. So my sexual response to people comes from like it's like literally from conversation, from knowing them, from knowledge.
So you don't get the infatuation at first sight or anything like that, huh?
No, I don't.
Let me ask you this question: Are you going to donate your brain to science? Because we need to be studied, all right? you know what I'm talking about, right?
I know. Well, and I think that Kendra kind of hit it on the nail on the head for me. Like it's that matter of not. I don't trust people.
Oh, okay. So it's not that you don't. Or do you want to say? Do you feel it? I'm not saying. Do you think it? You don't feel it at all?
I don't. But I think that it might be like one of those defense mechanisms that are built in. Because I don't have that initial thing, and it's like I actually like I think that I'm literally turned on by the It's not by your looks. What I'm turned on by is you. So as we're talking, getting to know each other, as we vibe with each other over time, that's what builds it up for me.
So that trust wall is really high, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Because I was going to say the thing that will do it for me is trust. Right? And I don't trust anyone on a baseline.
Well, you know what? We're a lot alike, because that's the same way with me. As far as even though I'm a male, for a committed relationship, trust is really important to me. That's how come me and my child's mother never really hit it off, because she could never get over that trust wall.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. So I could never really trust her, and that I couldn't be with her long term if I couldn't trust her. So I know what you're talking about. Exactly. Char, you want to chime in? And get your headset together? Maybe.
What is it? I'm not even paying attention.
Okay. You're in the chat. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have an initial infatuation phase, and how do you get over the initial infatuation phase?
Oh, I don't really try to get over it. I try to make that bad fella last as long as possible.
Oh, in other words, before you actually, before you pay the fare, I like to ride along a little further, huh?
Yeah, it's fun.
So you stretch him out. Okay.
Yeah.
So you never get over it, do you? So when do you actually start thinking with your head rather than the infatuation, or what? Or is it from the beginning?
I just look at it like this is a terrible way to describe it, but I look at it like a toy. I mean, it's fun, it's new, it's exciting. I'm learning about it. I'm gonna have as much fun as I can, because I know it's gonna start dying down, but. I just ride with it. I don't.
Do you feel it? So how do you feel it without succumbing to it?
Explain that.
In other
I missed
words,
it.
well, especially young women, when they get infatuated, they can be swayed to have sex and do other things they might not ordinarily do. So how do you balance that out with the infatuation with being logical and being,
Oh,
and
I
checking
don't
a guy
have
out?
that problem. I
Okay.
don't have
Oh,
that problem.
oh,
Okay.
okay. Okay. Because Ken, that's what we're talking about. And say Ruby doesn't, she doesn't feel it at all until she trusts you. So it takes time for her to actually grow into that feeling. She don't have the initial infatuation phase.
Oh, okay. That's what she was saying.
Yeah, that's what she was saying. That's why I asked, did you want to chime in on it?
Yeah, I don't have that problem. So
And guys, you're listening to this. This is coming directly from the source. You can't get this anyplace. That's how come you sit on the Council of Women to actually hear what women think and how they feel and what they go through, because it's valuable. And they don't all feel or hear the same. Well, Cats, why don't you just say that?
Right?
Mama said, "Oh, see, she said Mama didn't tell them what she told me, girl. You need okay, pussy
You
control.
know
I
a
heard that.
song that
Yeah, pussy control. You do, and I tell my daughters that all the time.
And I think women only think men should have dick control. Nah, you gotta control Hello Kitty because that bitch is just as bad as any man, if not worse.
Is
And
is that true,
she
Char?
horrible.
Is that true, Char?
It can be.
Cats is laughing because Cats knows. Boy, Cats is sniggling in the background. So you got to
Oh
witness.
shit! I thought I was muted.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh, hey, let me just do this.
Well, so hey, wait, no, heifer, unmute yourself. No, lay down.
What you call me? You call me a heifer?
I called you a heifer. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Unmute yourself. Okay, okay. What is Hello Kitty just as bad as what I call him Bob? Bob the Brain.
Hmm, sometimes.
Okay, when you're deeply attracted, does she talk to you and say, "Go get him"?
Yeah,
She
sometimes.
not only talk to you, that bitch jump all the way up out your body and look you in your face. Like, you look into my eyes, bitch. Are you really gonna deny me this? Really? That's what she do. She do.
He said, you're fucking up right now, don't you? Because
Right.
you know
You
he's gonna walk away.
up.
You fucking up right now.
Because he's gonna walk off. But see, that was my personal thing. Like,
Yeah.
ladies, if you have some type of control over yourself, I'm not saying you gotta make a timetable. Well, I can't screw no man for 3 months. You ain't gotta make like a definite timetable. You really don't. You ain't even gotta listen to what the hell I'm talking about. But the way that I do it is first you have to have some control. And I was not scared of that walk away. Because I'll walk the fuck away. Give a shit. Walk. Because this is going to happen on my timetable anyway. And if you don't like that timetable, okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. You don't like, man, she ain't doing what I want her to do. Okay. Because there are plenty of what I won't do, the next woman will. So go over there and get her.
Yeah. Then that is true. I tell guys the same thing. Don't be afraid to take the wheel and walk away. Go ahead, Classic.
I just want to say too, because like for me, respect is a huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
So like for me, for example, if you won't respect my limits, as far as anything, it doesn't have to be just sexually, but just in general, if you're not going to show me respect, like that is literally such an instant, like whatever we built up, like I'm done. Because you know what, like you're brand new. So you might have great qualities otherwise, but at the end of the day, because respect and trust are so important to me and they kind of go hand in hand. I think that, because if you have a lot of respect for yourself, then you should expect a lot of respect from other people, right? Because you should expect people to treat you the way you'll treat yourself. You should teach people to treat you the way you'll treat yourself. So at the end of the day, it should feel like, I get the whole concept of it being organic. And, so if you're going to go from the organic perspective, then again, someone trying to push that timeline, trying to make something come faster or whatever, and, spitting out the same lies they tell you when they're 15 about blue balls or come on girl, I need you right now or whatever bullshit, right? Like to me, like that's not showing respect for your body or for your intelligence.
Well, basically, it is true about the blue balls and needing you right now, but that's, to you, that's immaterial as a person.
Yeah, like I don't, like, I'm not like 14 anymore. Like I'm not gonna buy it and really think that your balls might actually explode, and I'm the only one who can solve your problem. Right?
Somebody actually told you that.
Ruby? Did you ever really fall for it? Be honest.
Well, no, because I was afraid of penis when I was that young, so it didn't really matter how blue your balls got. I wasn't touching it, right? I really used to feel bad. I thought I did something horrible to them. Like their tubes were going to get congested. I can't remember what the hell he told me. Something about you can't come out, and he might eventually one day become like infertile.
Yeah. So we've heard those stories.
You know what? Classic. What I heard, what I used to hear was from the Mean Girls, the don't have sex or else he'll get chlamydia and die.
Chlamydia and die.
Oh boy, you guys are hilarious. Divalicia, you want to jump in on this? I guess not. She's muted.
I think that's Vix.
I think it's Vix.
Is it Vix? Is that Vix? Okay.
It's Vix. It's Vix. It's my
okay.
Morning. I don't know why I'm awake. I heard all these people. I was like, yeah, I need to get on this one. Okay.
Should Hello Kitty have boundaries, Vix?
Do you know what? Like, calling it Hello Kitty, I just keep seeing this really cute little purse thing.
I guess she's cute until she actually wants to have sex, and then she turns into something else.
Yeah, see, it's really funny because when I listened to before I was trying to get on, I was listening to Kendra speak, and I was like, me and Kendra, I don't know if Kendra's Aries, I don't know where Kendra is from.
She's Gemini.
Like me.
Yeah, she's
Gemini. Okay. Yeah, I'm very much like because I have to track back, right, man. My brain has to work this time in the morning to track back. So I'm more like, I've always was more like Kendra. It's kind of, and a bit of Ruby. I'm a cross between the two. I have only met in my life, I think, one guy ever that I saw him. I remember this. This was like 2000. It was so in my mind. It was 2005. My cousin was having like a little gathering at her house. I was really busy, and I brought this pizza because it was just like a gathering. So I brought a pizza for everyone and everything like that because she said, "Oh, bring something to eat." She just wanted to get people together, friends of hers. Anyway, I walked into her house, and she was talking to this guy. I was like, "Oh my God!" Right? I've never had that moment. You know, when you see this guy, you're just like, "Damn!" I mean, I'm not that person. Okay. I had to be like Ruby. I had to kind of get to know you organically. It normally takes me many, many months. You know, you need to be SD checked. You need to be herpes checked. You need to be, you know, especially now. I don't even want to be in a car with you. I don't even want to talk to you unless you're behind the screen. So I saw this guy, and he was just, good Lord, I don't know where he came from. And the first thing that went to my mind was like, please don't tell me my cousin slept with him. Please, girl, don't have slept with him because that means I can't sleep with him. And that was in like a nanosecond. It was literally like that.
You looked into his eyes, and that was it, huh?
Well, no, I just saw him. It was like he must have had the type thing that I had in my head somewhere, you know. And I hadn't seen that type in such close proximity, like I was at the zoo. And I walked towards him, and my cousin said, "Oh well, you know," introduced me and everything like that. And at the time, my hair was natural, and so I had a twist out. And he just looked to me and just said to me, "Can I put your hands in my hair? Your hair?" I said, "Absolutely." That was it. That was it. It was done. But we didn't actually. He wanted my number, and I said, "You know what? He really was chasing me around, and you know, he actually put the pizza in the oven for me and all that kind of stuff. But he actually, he knew he was a Scorpio. He had it. He had sexual energy. Was just charging off that guy, right, like that. And so I just said to him, because he wanted my number as I was leaving. So can I get your number? I said, "What for? You're just a booty call." You don't need my number. I said, you want your booty call? And quite frankly, nah.
You didn't trust yourself, huh?
No, yeah. And he chased down. I don't know how he got my number, but he did chase me down. I slept with him eventually. Yeah, of course I did. But it wasn't like. And I knew what it was. He wanted me to be a girlfriend, but I only ever thought of him as a sex toy.
Okay.
I never thought of him. It's just the energy that he gave off was not somebody that you would be serious with, start a relationship with, do the whole dating thing. He was someone that, like we went out we said we talked a lot for quite a few weeks. We went out on a date, and I had sex with him. It was fantastic. But did I have sex with him again after that? It was very intermittent for a couple of years. But then I was like, nah. Because he was just so flaky in so many other areas.
Oh, okay.
And he was just all over the place. He looked like a house. He looked like a hoarder. And I was, oh, Lord. So that's why for me, I've always gone, most of the time, if I think about it, and guys have never pressed me with it because, as you said, you've got the roster system going on.
Mm-hmm.
Most times the guys I actually really got with, I might not have slept with them for like, I don't know what it is, like 6 to 9 months. And that's even when I was like 36 or 37 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So I don't know. But yeah, I mean, there's some guys that are some guys I find that you can be really drawn to. But even though I'm drawn to them, I go into logic. And the more that I'm drawn to them, the more I go into logic.
Oh, in other words, you get the defense mechanism goes up even stronger.
Oh, it kicks in real quick.
Okay.
I know exactly.
It sounds like a lot like Ruby.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, us Caribbean people, you know what we like.
I guess so. Yeah. I'm beginning to think that.
Yeah. Whenever me and Vic speak about things like this, we do sound really similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our mothers must have had a good old chat together or something like that.
Well, they know how women, they really know how male and females actually work. So said, okay, it's getting ready to happen. So this is what you need to do.
Yeah, but they don't actually, to be honest, and we've talked about this before, but they know how it is, but they actually don't tell you nothing.
Really?
They don't give you the information. They don't share nothing. They just send you out there to the wolves, and you got to work it out.
My mom already told me. My mom told me I was special and precious, and worth like everything in the world. And then when I got a little bit older, she told me boys are only out for one thing. They'll tell you whatever they want to, whatever they think is going to work, because they only want that one thing. I'm not going to tell you what that one thing is yet. It was like 9 or 10.
You figured it out. Oh, this is what they really want, huh?
But when you get there, they only want one thing, and trust me, as soon as you give it to them, they're gone, like this, in a flash.
Okay. Did you hear that, Vix, when you growing up?
Actually, my mother never. I call her my mother like she's some sort of like a queen or something. She never told me anything.
How about your dad?
My dad told me, look, this is my dad. This is my dad. I was probably about. But the thing is with me, I was tall, skinny, spotty, kind of ugly for real. So nobody was thinking there was nobody going to be checking for my ass, right? So I think I was pretty when I was a pretty little girl. And then when I got into the teenage years, I kind of got the horrible acne and all sorts of horrible stuff happened. And then I kind of got out of that, and then I blossomed again. But not really, actually. I blossomed at my height, probably in my late 20s, early 30s was probably the best I ever looked. I wasn't great looking in my 20s. Not unattractive, but just not hot in that sort of sense. Because it's me becoming into myself that made me better as a person. But my dad just said to me,
"You hear that, cats? You hear that?"
Yes,
cats. Look, if I was looking at pictures of me, and a friend of mine said to me, when you were like, because I was speaking to an old friend of mine, he said, "Oh, because he met me at 30." I was speaking to him yesterday. He met me at 32, and he said, "Oh my God, you're just amazing at 32." And I'm like, well, everyone's thinking I'm supposed to have hit the wall, but actually, no, I looked better in my 30s than I did in my 20s. I was awkward. So my dad said this to me: men are going to want to do things to you. Just say no. That was all I got.
Okay.
That was all I got.
Sounds about the same thing that Ruby's mom told her.
Yeah.
No, my dad said.
What did your dad say, Thalia?
He said, books, 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 books. That's all he said. Just dig in the books, the books, the books,
the books.
Okay. Yeah, but like, I mean, I went through a fat phase. Like I don't know, but like a lot of the women in our family, they tend to get bigger, and then they get smaller, and then they get bigger. Like my mom, she was big when she was younger. When she was little, she was skinny. When she was in her teens and mid and early 20s, she was big, and then now she's dropping weight. Like, what happened? Like, and her hair changed from coarse to thick to curly. Like, she dreaded her hair though. Like she said that's what happens to us. Like she said, the way you maintain this life situation, Thalia, you basically have to eat the right food. She told me, because like not all Black Hispanic women tend to it's the food that we eat. We have to be careful.
Especially if you're Black, you get the food goes certain places, huh?
Yeah, down to my thighs and hips.
Hear that, Rihanna? Stay away from the from the sweets.
Okay.
All right.
I don't know what the hell that was, but okay.
So, if I may chime in before you do, Char, I'm sorry.
Ahead. I was gonna go to the next one, but go ahead.
You go ahead.
Just one thing, and then I'll let Char do what she does.
Okay.
Don Solis T. Just because women lean more towards the emotional does not mean that we are incapable of logic.
No.
Just like men lean more towards logic, but you wouldn't say that they are incapable of emotion.
Exactly. They're just not as in touch with it. Yeah.
So I'm not going to roast you. I'm going to let you live. Don't say that no more.
The oil ain't hot, so basically you're lucky. She ain't turned the stove on today.
Nah, I'm gonna cook some coons tonight, but I'm gonna let Char do what she do.
Yo, I was listening to the argument that you had, BGS. Oh my God, that gave me a headache.
Yeah, how do you think I felt?
Oh my God, like is it? I hope this is not the generation. I hope they don't produce the next generation. Like some of these, just like how they feel about some of these Black women, some of these Black men do not.
You know what? Until I actually started, because I have children, so I always based millennials off my children and their friends. And until I started listening to these guys online, I said, okay, now I get it. What women are talking about. I get it. I get the struggle that millennial women actually have. Okay, now I really completely get it. Basically, the Western society has actually fucked these millennial men's minds up.
Yeah, and that is why I'm like, ugh. Even with my boyfriend, I have to tell them to the right direction, and that's annoying when you have to do that to a man. Yeah.
Instead of him having his own direction, and you would think, okay,
he has.
No, go ahead.
Oh, he has a good direction. He has a good head on his shoulder. It's just certain thing. I guess it's just the American culture, which I don't like. I just don't like the majority of the American culture across the board. It's like it just ruins people. Like the undertone is just me, not us.
Yeah, it is. I would agree with you. I'd agree with you. Char, you want to bring up the next topic? Go ahead.
Part 2 of this is, how long does it take to know if a man is a good man? This was inspired by a lot of the guys who say, well, these women shouldn't be with these men. They keep picking wrong. So I would like to get some guys from the audience to let us know, as well as the women, what they think. How long does it take to know if he's a good man?
Ooh, that's a good question. Okay. From a woman's perspective, who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Oh, go ahead. Jump in.
I think it takes seasons. I think it takes time. I think it really does. First of all, you've got to have the foundation that person, for me personally, I can really separate just having if I really want to go and just have some sex, yeah, so easy to do. Your brain just turns off and you can do it like a robot. It's not a problem. I can do that. I don't get emotional. Actually, I think I probably, if I'm being honest, I know it's out there in the airways. If I'm honest, I probably like, I only sort of did the whole, like, I've never had a one night stand actually. That was on my bucket list, but I'm too old for that now.
What do you mean? Too old? What do you mean too old? I don't get that.
I just can't be bothered.
So Hello Kitty doesn't function anymore or something?
Oh, yeah, she has her functions, but she stays in the house. Okay. She's well in the house. And she's in her garden working on her vegetables. That's what she does.
Vix, you are not shit. You know that, right? But continue.
Seriously, I go and work on my vegetables rather than bother myself.
Okay.
Because I keep myself. But I think that for me, this is how I have done stuff. I can really separate, and I had my little Sex in the City period around 36, 37, but they were always ex-boyfriends, so I always knew them anyway. So there were never people that I didn't know, and so I would just use them. I would just, oh hey, how you doing? Use them for sex. And actual fact, I found that they really hated that I could just have sex with them and not have sex with them again for another year or something and not speak to them. And so I knew I know very quickly what your role is. The same way men always talk about, they know which one is wifey and which one is a plaything. Yes, I know that myself. And there's some people that I'm on the fence with, and I always, whenever I did date, when I was dating, I prefer to give guys a chance. I needed to get to know you and what you're doing in your head. Where's your head at? What's your head game? What's your process? What's your it wasn't so much about money and all that kind of stuff, but you need to be intriguing. You need to have some mastership of yourself. You need to have some purpose about you. If you're just like, let me just sit there and talk to her over a cup of coffee or a glass of wine or whatever, and think I'm getting into we call it I'm being a bit urban over here. Get into your baggies, we used to call it.
That's cute.
Yeah. You trying to get into my baggies. That was what we used to call it. I don't know where that phrase comes from, but it was just always a phrase we used to use. It would be like, so you just saying the scripted things that you say to get into the, the hoo-ha or the Kit Kat or whatever you call it. There needs to be more to you than that. First of all, like I think it was Classic said, potential or pregnancy, potential of STDs, because some of these dudes don't even know you can get an STD with a condom on. Okay, skin to skin contact. They think the condom is a cure-all for everything, right? And there's not everybody that you want even to know where you live. As a woman, you don't want them to know where you live. So that's how I used to decide it, and I still decide it now. Actually, it's got better. I just look at you and go, nah, I would never sleep with you, so I won't even talk to you. That's my deciding now. If you're looking at me, you're trying to connect with me, I scan you, like I scan you up and down. I feel the energy. I go, nah, I would never sleep with you, so I won't even talk to you. I'll revert my eyes so you can't make contact with me, and I'll keep it moving.
Okay. All right.
I'm a virgin, so I'll just.
I'll jump into this one. Okay, ladies, a lesson. Listen. How do you know if he's a good man or not? Listen. Listen to him talk. Watch how he interacts with people aside from you. Okay? That's the two things that women will not do because they're listening to who? Hello Kitty. And she ignores red flags and stuff because she only has one goal. And that's to be taken for a spin. Okay? She doesn't care who the driver is as long as he know how to drive stick. Okay?
That's one way to put it.
So you have to make the discernment. If you listen to him talk and you watch how he interacts with other people, that will teach you who he is. Okay. The other thing is, you never truly know, or I'll put it like this: three ways you can get to know somebody and know who they really are at the core. Do some type of business with them, travel with them, or live with them. That is how you learn people. If you can get into a situation that involves money, you don't got to be shady with money. Just get into a situation that involves some kind of money transaction. See how you act. Okay, this is how you learn how people are. This is not even just for men. This is just people in general. This is how you learn who they are, because they can't hide who they are under certain circumstances. If you see them once every so often and you go out and you go get a dinner or you go get a coffee or whatever, yeah, anybody can put on their best face for an hour or two or however long. You know, that don't take much effort at all unless you're an idiot. But if you start getting into certain situations with people, they tell you who they are. They show you who they are. And only when you ignore red flags do you get caught up. And you get caught up because, girl, but he looks so good though. Yeah, that's what got you in trouble. You saw the red flag, but he looked like, he was laying pipe with the promise of power, and you had to have it. Just be real. That's how you got caught up. And a lot of women, we don't like to be real.
Why is that? Why is that?
Because we don't like to be seen as, whores, or we don't like to be seen as easy, or we don't like to be seen as, all predatory if you're being predatory. Okay. We think those things have negative connotations for us. So, we'll rather manipulate or fudge it or make a reason or make an excuse as to why we did this, that, and the third, so it don't look so bad on us. Because we don't like taking ill.
So it's like a plausible deniability. It's his fault. He made me have. I fell for him. He made me have sex, and he lied to me. I didn't know he was
lied, and I didn't know he had 2 other women he was sleeping with. See, it's you not being real with yourself first, and that's how you not finding a good man, because you're not being real. When I say I was trying to get into relationships, when I go in with my head, game didn't necessarily work on me. It could be cute, and I knew he was trying, and I knew that what he was doing worked on other females. I knew I was different, but I didn't try to lord that over him or throw him off with it. It was just that I know what you're doing, so let's get past that and let me see who you really are. Because this right here, this is your initiation. This is you trying to charm me, and which is fine. There's nothing wrong with a man trying to charm a woman and being charming and being, all of that kind of stuff.
Because it's entertaining. So
it is. And so it's nothing wrong with a man doing that, but we have to get past that if you want something serious with me, because that only goes so far with me. Matter of fact, it doesn't go anywhere. You got to be real. That's the way to get to me. You got to be you. So, but I was also real with myself. What was I looking for out of this man? Is he just gonna be dick? Is he a relationship? Do I want him to be a relationship? Am I trying, or what am I trying to get out of this situation? And a lot of times women are not truthful with what they're trying to get out of it. He has another woman, you're the side piece. If you're going to walk into it with open eyes, do that. Be the side piece. Okay? Side pieces nowadays, y'all don't know how to keep y'all fucking mouth shut.
Well, the thing is, I always used to say every number 2 wants to be the number 1, regardless of what she says.
And so if he leaves you high and dry, you knew you was a side piece when you stepped to him, when he stepped to you. Stop playing them games. And this is the type of stuff that I get sick of it, and I'm not even no man. I don't date women. But I even get sick of that. It's like, come on, girl. You know the program.
You giving up too much woman secrets right
Well,
now.
that's why I ain't got no friends.
All right. Who else wants to weigh in?
I'll go in.
I'll weigh in. Sure.
I was gonna say, for me, I say a year. I need each season.
Wow. Okay. Like Vix, huh?
I need to really know or have the best idea that I'm going to have. I would say a year. I need to go through each season with you, and I definitely need to see you angry.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I definitely need to see a guy angry because that's going to determine a lot. So
you want to see him at his worst.
For me, it's
or close to it to see how he's going to react. Yeah, I used to do that with women all the time. I'm good. Gemini is good at shit test because we shit test people all the time. Right, Kendra? Gemini shit test people all the time.
That's the constant. This is how we know who you are because I'm gonna put some shit in the game and I'm gonna watch you react. I want to know what you do.
And never say a word. Like
never
okay,
say a word.
Never say a word. Continue, Char.
That's it. That's good.
That's it.
Yeah.
What do you think? Go ahead, Thay, jump in.
I say 3 years, and I need to know how your finances are. Yeah, 3 years.
Wow. Okay, go ahead.
3 years, and I need. For me, it's money. Money talks. Like if you get in a relationship with no, seriously, money is like the problem in every relationship and every marriage I know. So like I have to see how he handles his money and me and how we like. I see myself how I handle my money. I got to see how you handle your money, and then we'll see how we both handle money.
I ain't saying you a gold digger. But
nah,
you with no broke nigga. Go ahead, Ruby.
Okay, so for me now it depends because I might think you are a good man, and you know it's not like I don't go in assuming all men are bad men or they could be all bad men. I'm just waiting for the ball to drop. It's not like that. But what I will say is this: is that a man who proves to be a good man throughout that first honeymoon period, which is the first 8 months or so. That's when your oxytocin levels are really high, et cetera, et cetera. That can change really dramatically once that first honeymoon period drops off. So in and of itself, while I might think you're a good man, because, you know, as far as all of the things I look for example, honesty and openness. If you are really evasive, you have a lot of things to hide, you won't let me see certain parts of your life, like I don't know where you live, stuff like that. Well, you know what? There's a chance you have something to hide. That something might be a wife. It might be the fact, anything. And at the end of the day, to me, you know, that tells me those are major red flags that are major concerns. So I wait until after that honeymoon period drops off. Now, everyone's behavior kind of changes because you get a little bit more relaxed. You stop performing, in essence, to be the best you that you could possibly be at all times, and you just start being you. And so at that point, then I look for what your actual habits are, what your actual treatment of me is when you're not just performing. And that's going to tell me a lot. But even at that point, I still would wait now because you don't really, really know someone until you live with them.
That's true.
Right? So until I live with you, I would not honestly make a proclamation of whether or not you are a good man or not, because if you are a good man or not, that is when it's going to show. That is, but again, that still does not give you a guarantee because, again, maybe maybe nothing stressful has happened yet. Maybe, you know, you haven't had major issues arise that, you know, he's had to fight and face. And, you know, how does he handle those things? How does he treat you in the midst of those things? Things like that. You haven't had any, you know, major financial crises or whatever, because that's the number one reason for divorces. You know, and so, you know, until major things, if a major thing happens earlier on, as far as that's a major stressors, and, you know, he handles them without changing, becoming a violent demon or going out having sex with 10 girls or disappearing for weekends, great. But that might not have happened as of yet. So there's a bunch of different markers that I kind of have on the list as far as, well, until I've seen all of the above, from the way that
is Doan seeing him interact with his family on the list?
For me, it's seeing him interact with his mother specifically. And the reason why is normally, and again, I mean, if he has a terrible relationship with his mother because his mother's a terrible person, I'm okay with that. But now in that case, like I had an ex and his mother's a terrible human being. Even so, I watched him, at least he addressed her with respect, even though I don't feel like she deserved it. So that said a lot. But I also watched the way he was with his little sisters. Right. So I look at the way that they are with the women in their lives, and obviously with the men in their lives, because
how close a direct reflection was that by seeing them interact with the family?
It's honestly, especially with mothers, like with normal. When I say normal, as in nuclear family, got a mom and a dad and whatever. I find that the way that relationship is between mother and son is really closely mirrored to how I'll be treated in general. So it ends up being really important. And if there isn't a mother there, I find that his relationship with, like, say, his surrogate mom, with his grandma, with his sisters, you can kind of see that the overall respect level, for example, the overall love level, how they show love, how they receive love, how they like to receive love, And this is where, again, when you see the mama's boy kind of relationship, what happens with those men? Those men expect you to baby them, right? They expect you to be, to treat them like they're your mama too, and they're your little boy. So you kind of always see those things mirrored. And I wouldn't say that that's necessarily makes him a bad man, that, he's not a good man because, he's mama's boy. But if you see him disrespect his mother, if you see him act really, almost violently angry, not like hitting her, but, slamming doors, slamming stuff, whatever, and she jumps and stuff like that, well, that might tell you that, there's a serious anger management issue there that might really impact you. So yeah, those are, I definitely do put those things on the list too.
Okay.
But yeah.
Taylor, you wanted to weigh in about the family?
Oh yes, with family, like, what my thing is, you really got to know who you're dating, because if you get into a marriage with someone, you marry the family.
No, that's true. If you have a child by a woman, okay, I can tell you, basically, you've married into the family. Trust and believe. So I can tell you that just from my vantage point, that that's very true. Well, go ahead and continue.
No, that's why I said it was cats.
Okay.
I was gonna say, the funniest thing is when people say, "I thought I got with the normal person of that family," when everybody else in the family is crazy, and they're just really hiding the fact that they're weird, just like the rest of the family.
Yeah. Better, yeah. Every now and then, you see somebody that's an outlier, so that happens. So, like, I'm sure if you look at Kendra's probably an outlier in her family. She
more than likely.
Yeah.
Because I know I was an outlier in my family from way back when. Like, the way I thought and my thought process was totally.
You like Ruby. You're a dude, Thalia. You're a dude, okay?
Dude. Yeah. That's why my boyfriend and I, when we were talking, and I said, "Do you want to play the game?" I said, "I don't want to play the game. I want to play in the very beginning." And he's like, "That's why I love you. You're like me." I don't like playing. I don't know. I just like, with certain things, I want to know firsthand instead of secondhand.
Like I said, I'm going to say the same thing that we say to Ruby. You're a dude, Thalia. You're a dude.
Can I just say, thank you, Angry Man? I will never, ever live that down now.
Well, that's not a bad thing.
What? No, stop calling him a dude, because actually I've always got called a dude as well. So we're calling Angry Man.
What he's saying is that's actually a sign of respect, because it really when he says
no, it is.
It's a sign of respect. In other words, you think like us, you're like us, and we can vibe with you because we actually be friends with you because you don't act like the typical woman.
Because actually, I do have more male friends. I do. I struggle with having female friends,
Yeah.
but my guy friends, I mean, like,
Yeah.
oh God, I've had them for I mean, like, as I said, one guy I talked to yesterday, two of them I spoke to. I spoke to two of them yesterday. I've got about 5 or 6 of them. And
My sister.
Because we expect Ruby to say if somebody's whining, shut your punk ass up.
Yeah, whining doesn't really work for me. Like,
So
even from small children, like, don't go away. Like, if you start whining while you're like on my lap, something like this 3-year-old will put you on the ground and tell you to go somewhere else. I don't want to
see, that's how men do kids.
Oh,
so,
okay, yeah.
See,
but she said it really nicely. I just remove myself because I just don't need that. I don't need the drama. That's what I'm saying.
Shut up, man up and stop whining. That's what he expects.
Well, actually, I'm not saying that to my
That's always like, I always had a lot of guy friends, and a lot of girls get jealous because I was always with the gorgeous fellas. I said like, I never really liked them because I knew who they are and I knew how they acted.
Girl, you saying it. You know,
they get so mad, jelly. Like, you got their phone number and stuff. You're on the PS4 with them. You're going to their parties. I'm like, because I'm one of them.
One of them. That's
just with a vagina.
Yeah, that's with a vagina. Basically, that's the highest form of respect that a man can actually say to a woman. You're a dude. You want us. You're like my boy.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the
highest. I told you.
Yeah.
That was the story of my
you told me
life.
classic. You told me classic, but you know when you just kind of go, really? But it's just the way he called you a dude. The way I think it's his accent and stuff.
Yeah.
The way he called you like a dude. Like, I was just looking at you like having a guy you're like Ruby with a beard. That's what I was like,
so basically, a woman walking up to Ruby and expect her to vibe with that feminine shit. It's like, get out of here. I don't vibe with that. Wait a minute.
I actually
go ahead.
I like when I with my one of the girls that I was listening to, they were all talking about this one dude. She was talking about this dude treated her badly and stuff and blah blah blah. I was like, I got tired of it. I just went to the dude and said, yo, your chick is annoying the hell out of me right now.
Right on. Right on.
That's like when we call you guys unicorns, because it's like, wait a minute.
Man, that's the story of my life, man. Hanging around a bunch of dudes, and them girls was always jealous. Oh, how you get around him? Because I ain't trying.
Yes.
Because I'm not trying.
Because actually, they're vibing on your non-sexual companionship, which is the ultimate. That's like and guys actually said if they're gonna be with you, said I'm not with her because she's a good lay, because she's beautiful. I'm with her because she truly is just like me. One of my friends, my partner, my road dog. All those things wrap up in one. We just happen to have sex with each other.
I remember I used to work. I had a gay guy who used to work in the office with me years ago, and we just he used to sit next to me and we just connected. I don't know what it was, but we actually liked the same looking guys. It was the weirdest thing, So we used to hang out and stuff. So and he used to always say it to me. But you know, people say things to you, but you don't really fully understand it straight away because they just make a phrase. He said, "You're a gay guy trapped in a woman's body."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, okay," because I could, but I've always had guy friends. It's so much easier, and it's easy for me. But the thing is, unfortunately, what happens is when you get these guys as your friends, the guys that I've got in my circle, they really share. So you then start to see all these little, I'm a good man, I'm an educated lame, I'm this, that, and the other. You see the dirt they're doing because they tell you, and you go, yeah, you ain't so good.
No, I know that. I know they're full of shit.
So they tell you, they share their stuff. I mean, I've got one guy who's like really, really high up in the city of London, and like he's constantly sending me emojis and telling me about all this, that, and the other, and all the stuff he's done. I mean, he speaks to me like literally. He calls me his work wife. He calls me his work wife, and I'm like, but you know what? But anyway, carry on. Go on, Kendra.
No, I was just gonna say, Vix. But see, the guys, when you become one of them, they do tell you who they are.
Yes.
Now, see, the thing about it is this. If you just listen, you can be put up on so much game. See, this is how I started understanding how men thought. Not only my dad would like give me little tidbits, he would tell me stuff, but hanging around those dudes, those boys, and just listening to stuff, and sometimes it would make me mad. It would be like a low-key offensive, but instead of constantly being mad about it, like, okay, well, just accept what they said, because
that's right, exactly where I am. That's exactly where I am.
You're getting mad because you're not getting their sexual attention, but look how they talk about the girls who trying to get their sexual attention. Like, do you really want to be discussed this way when you're not around them? And it was like, no, actually, I don't.
This guy's been my friend since what? Well, we went out on one date in 2006, and I was like, oh, nah, not feeling him like that. So he convinced me to go on a second date. He convinced me, like literally the date literally was around the corner from my office. He was so busy trying to convince me. But we just kind of been friends since then. And all of a sudden I'm like, what's going on? I've been through, he's had a baby with some baby mother in Seattle, but he lives here. I've gone through all of this. But do you know what? It was my birthday, it was my big birthday in March. And I said a couple of things to him. He got me a sweatshirt, bless his heart. He got me this really great, because I love hoodies. I'm a dude chick. Hoodies, baseball hat,
Vix, you're a dude, okay?
He got me this sweatshirt. I don't know how he did it or what, he'd listened to me, and it said 1968. He said 1968, 50 years of sunshine with a little bit of a hurricane. I just couldn't believe he picked that for me. And then he picked me another T-shirt. Well, it's a really nice shirt, and it says "Black Don't Crack" with Diamantes. He literally like gauged the two sides of my personality, and he sent these parties. They got sent to me, and I was like, "How the hell?" You know, and actually now I can see the friendship in him and him as a man, because I actually was really taught by my mum, I'll be honest, that men weren't human. They didn't have any soul.
Emotion. Okay.
They didn't have. And my dad's not my dad. Look, seriously, my dad might cry. I've seen my dad cry once actually, but they have no emotions. I was really taught because my dad's 70, I'm 50, my dad's 71 or something. So he's a baby boomer, I'm a Generation X. So that's the men there. They didn't have any emotions. They didn't show any emotions. They're very stoic. So I really grew up not knowing about men to connect with them better. Only since I've got onto YouTube, oh God, you need to really be connecting with them. You just don't talk to them and get things up with them. You've got to connect back to them. And I now understand why there's a lot of, you need to bring something to the table and all this shouting and rare that's going on, because women aren't getting shown that we need to kind of give back to you to get back to them, like in a reciprocal manner. But my mothers didn't teach us that. And I keep telling men, you keep thinking we go to charm school, wife school, mother school, girlfriend school. Most of our mothers just managed to meet a dude, got pregnant, had to handle it. They ain't got nothing to teach us, right? Because they're too busy trying to
say it again. Mama ain't had shit to offer you. You had to learn that shit by yourself.
Absolutely.
And the whole have to make that by yourself, girl, and hope you don't fuck up too bad.
Yeah. There you go. That's exactly what I hear guys talking, because I listen to a lot of different. I do listen to a lot of different guys on YouTube. I have to lessen it down because some of the language does my head in. But actually, I'm glad I have in the last year, because I'm so immune to it now that a guy can come up to me and I'm like, really? you're not gonna get into my emotions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it was before when I first started to hear some of the language and some of the way people were talking, that was too much for me. But now I'm like, okay, dude, I can go back and forth with you just like a dude. Actually, maybe I am a dude.
Well, from my experience,
go ahead, Kat.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Well, I just want to say, fuck all that. Even as a crack fiend, Mama's still a black queen.
I mean, with the women in our family, they really did try. The only ones who didn't try are the ones that, just didn't understand, but they tried. They tried understanding. And what I noticed with myself, like, because I have a lot, there was only 2 girls on my dad's side before the boys. There were a lot of boys, and then later on became girls. Now it's becoming boys again. And what I noticed with a lot of the men in our family, and a lot of men in general, is that they just want the same satisfaction as, not like as the same, but as like just recognition for what they do. And I give it to them. Like when my boyfriend, when he was coming up, I had to recognize, this is a man, and men are gonna do what men are gonna do, and I just understand that. Not the fact that I know everything. I said I understand. I have empathy, and not many women have that. Not many.
Yeah, because they're taught to think that men are objects, and sometimes vice versa. Men are taught that women are vagina and nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else want to weigh in? Regina, you want to weigh in because you jumped on. Yes.
Before we go to the next part, Regina.
Okay. Well, go ahead. Go into the next part.
All right. Next part is. Oh, she just unmuted.
Okay.
Can you hear us, Regina? Or can you hear me? I'm having mic problems.
No, we got you. We'll go into the next part.
Okay. How long does it take to know if a man is worth having a child by or with?
Ooh, okay. That's a deep one.
Damn, I hadn't thought about that.
If I have to answer that one, it may not be the same answer across the board. In fact, I'm sure it's not. But I got to be married to you. And it don't have to be on Illinois paper.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have to be married to you. Me and you have to come to the conclusion that we are married.
Okay.
And that is when I will consider bringing a child into this world, your child. Because having your kid, I'm replicating you in my womb. Are you worthy to be replicated? Should another one of you be running around here? And if I've married you, then I've already said yes to that question. So, that fly by night, because see, for me, boyfriend, girlfriend, that shit is not a title.
No.
That's nothing.
Yeah, it's not.
That don't mean
single
really.
until married, baby. Single until married.
Yeah,
okay.
That boyfriend, girlfriend, that's some bullshit title to come up with to try to make you feel good about fucking that person. But the reality is that it doesn't mean anything. So me having a kid, just spitting out a kid because we've been together so long, that ain't about shit.
So basically, is having a child by a man more toward the business end and less toward the emotional end, or what do you think, Ken?
I think it's more towards the business and the emotional. I think it's a balance of both.
Yes.
For me, it's business.
For you, it's business. Regina, you have children, right, Regina?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
26, 21, and 18 now.
Okay.
And with the 26-year-old, it wasn't about business.
Okay.
It was about
okay, so I grew up in an era where the women said, it's about time for you. You're graduated college now.
So it wasn't even about him.
It wasn't about him. It had nothing to do with him.
Okay.
Or me, even to that point, if you really want to be honest about it. It wasn't even about me. It was like, you've graduated college now. He has a degree. You have a degree. What are you guys gonna do? And so that's how my oldest came about. Yeah, it wasn't about where I stood as a woman and how I felt and where I wanted to be. And even though, yes, the maternal instinct kicked in because my friends had already had, my friends from high school were like before we graduated high school and high school graduation, some of them were walking across the stage pregnant and some of them ended up having babies after that. Yes, I wanted to experience that as well, but not at that time. I knew that was not the time for me. But even when I graduated college, it was more of a force and implication, and not saying that I was not ready. I was just like, yeah, it would be nice to have a family. It would be nice to enjoy having that experience, but it wasn't the time for me at that. It was not the time at
in hindsight, it wasn't the time.
In hindsight, yeah.
Okay. How about because you said you have 3? How about the next 2?
The next 2 was with who I chose to be married to,
okay.
and I made that decision that no, we were not going to do this without a marriage situation. However, when you brought up the conversation earlier about what did you know about that individual, what about that individual made you want to engage with them? What made you, and I saw things, and that's what I want to express to women. When you see those things, don't let that, don't ignore.
In other words, see him for who he truly is.
See it for who the Maya Angelou. When they show you who they are, believe them.
Yeah, I tell guys that all the time.
Yeah, when they show you exactly. It's on the both ends. I got a chance to see an individual who had been hurt and had not healed.
Okay.
And I thought that I had enough happiness for the both of us.
Okay. Speak on that.
Yeah, I really did. I thought, I'm the happy. What I pride myself on is always being the one who brings a smile to the party, who brings a happiness to the place, who brings but there was an individual who had not experienced that. They did not have happiness. They saw violence in their home. They saw other things in their home that I did not see. And I'm thinking, I can help us heal. I can help him heal too. But that's not true. You cannot. They have to go through that on their own. That's not a process for us, especially if it didn't happen when we were created, when we decided to go into this relationship.
So in other words, are there basically, there's too many women out there trying to piece men together?
Yes. Why try to glue them? I don't care. You can get Elmer's and Gorilla Glue and all the other and super glue and whatever, but that's not going to bring him together. He has to be there already,
or at least on their way. Or at least
on their way. That's what I. At this point, I've tried to say that if I ever get an opportunity to ever say to him that I wish we just could have remained friends, that I valued the friendship that we had. It should have gone into a marriage.
Okay.
Friendship, and maybe could have helped him through that, whatever he was dealing with or what he was dealing with, as a friend, but not as a partner.
As a partner.
Okay. Not as your helpmate. God didn't create. I don't think that was not my role at that time in his life. Yeah.
So it was more emotional than it was a business.
Yeah, it was.
It business part, huh?
Yeah, it would beyond business. It was no longer trying to create. Oh, he got this, he has that, and this is how we're going to maneuver as a power couple.
Okay.
And I see that now, and I applaud those who are able to now create that. I hear some of the ladies talking, and I applaud you on finding that man that you can connect with, that you say, well, we're going to do this together. And if we're going to create babies, we're going to do this together. If we're going to have a wholesome family relationship, we're going to do this together. But that wasn't what it was back in the day for me. That's not what my experience was.
Okay.
So I applaud those who are able to do that now.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
go ahead, Thalia.
No, I was just picking up back what the lady said, that you really got to know the person, and maybe you're not meant to be with them. Maybe you're just there for a season. Like even with the guys I've been dating, and the guy that I'm dating now, like it's almost going on almost 4 months now. I feel as though, like, yeah, I enjoy his company and I would like to, but maybe at this time we just need to take it slow.
Yes. And it's okay for that. And that's what I try to share with my daughters, is that it's okay, even in a relationship with, man and woman, woman and woman, man and man, whatever the relationship is, it's okay to take a step back. It's okay. And say, you know what, let's take this a little bit slow. And then if they're not on board, then okay, then we need to step away altogether, because maybe this is not the time, this is not the season, as you just mentioned. It's not the season.
Because I was having a conversation with him, what was it, a couple of weeks ago? Yeah. And I told him, like, yo, I like to travel a lot. I don't like living in one place. I'm more like a gypsy person. I'll just live anywhere I want to live, lay my head wherever I want to lay. And that's how I roll. And he just wants to live in New York, and I said that's fine and all. I don't mind living in New York for a couple of some time, but I don't want to live there forever either. It's not my thing.
But having that conversation is very important, and it's good that you're able to have that and establishing that up front.
Anybody else want to weigh in?
Yes, please.
Jump in.
So
Ruby.
Hey.
Go ahead, Ruby.
Now, the way that I always saw things was that I was not having children out of wedlock. Because for me, if I'm going to have children, it's to provide. I want a family. I always wanted a family. I couldn't have the family I wanted as a child. I had no control. So if I was going to have children, it was going to be to have a family, which means that I need to be a good mother. I needed to find myself a good husband that I could be a good wife to, who would then be a good father to our children. So there was no way that I was having children before marriage. It was never going to be. And then now, I mean, me and my husband were together for 8.5 years before he proposed. And we did not have any children, and we were engaged for, I guess, like 9 months before we got married. And then at that point, I mean, we still have been together for another, I guess, 1.5 years since he proposed, and we haven't had children yet. Why? Because things aren't quite in order. I want to make sure the renovations on my house are done, because I want to make sure what I'm inhaling as I'm pregnant or, is healthy for the baby. And, I want to make sure that, again, I mean, you can never prepare for everything. Obviously, you can never make everything perfect. But with that being said, I want to make sure I have as good of a situation as I can before I bring children into this world and start a family. Because to me, a marriage is forever. And obviously, children are forever.
Yes, they are.
So when I have them, I'm going to make sure that what I'm doing is I'm creating a stable and happy and healthy environment for these kids, because I look at them as, I don't have them yet, but I look at them as an extension of myself and of my genetics. And all the studies show that, you know what, children who come from, you know, households that have 2-parent homes that are married, they financially are better off. They're more stable. They are more secure. So and we know that those traits, a kid living in a household with those traits, are more successful. So I want to give my kids every available opportunity to have the best in life. And again, you know, I think everyone wants to do better than their parents did, right? So I want to do better than my parents did. And I want to go in thinking, my parents were teen parents. So I want to go in thinking, and I want to go in eyes wide open, knowing exactly what I'm getting into, knowing exactly where the costs are, knowing exactly the sacrifices, and knowing that I can't even plan for how much more costs and sacrifices there are going to be along the way, no matter how many friends I've watched do it. So, you know, with that being said, to me, there isn't another answer other than get married first, have children second, and don't rush into marriage just because you want the family and you want the kids, you want the, you know, home. Because again, we were just talking about, how do you know if he's a good man? And I don't think anyone said, well, you know, in, you know, the first 30 days. You know, there's a lot of things that need to come.
You don't suffer from baby rabies, huh?
You know what? No, I mean, honestly, I'm getting to the place where, you know, I wanted 4 children. I had them all planned out. Most of them are named.
Wow.
Order, right?
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
Right, we got it all down. Hopefully the 2 girls in the middle can be twins, so I can minimize the pregnancies, because Lord knows I don't want them.
I always
you're the daughter I never had. Hey, Ruby, I will call you Mini Me.
Mini Me. Like for me, I always liked a big family, but not too big. Like probably about five kids.
That's a big family nowadays. Yeah, that's a big family.
Yeah.
Well, compared to where you come from, 9 is probably a big family, right?
Well, yeah. Well, mostly 9 people. Like my uncle has 8 kids. Like one of them passed away. She was like long time ago. She was a baby.
Okay.
But like, yeah, I was like, I know Americans are like 5, but I come from a family that had like 6, 10, 9. I said 5.
But I would still not want to rule out, you know, as a young woman who grew up adopted, and they were much older. They were 56 and 57 when they adopted me at 6 months. So I don't want to rule out that it was a husband and wife unit. And when I had my oldest on my own, but then was able to get married and then divorce and still able to rear all 3. All 3 of them are college students. The oldest has graduated from college. The middle one is a senior. The youngest is a freshman in college. I don't want to rule out the opportunity. Yes, they have more of a opportunity to thrive when they're a 2-parent household, but don't rule out if there's a strong individual that was able to rear them. Don't rule out their possibilities that they can still thrive, that they can't still thrive.
That's true.
Because they can. Yeah.
All my family, there's some that fell to the wayside, some that were successful. And like the thing is, like when I said, because like what happened is when I said to a lot of American kids, you know, I said I wanted like at least 7 or 8, they looked at me crazy. Like a lot of people looked at me crazy. Like, what's wrong with that?
What's wrong? Yeah. I wanted 7 too. I wanted 7 babies. I did.
Wow.
And when those last 2 came back to back, 18 months apart to the day, I said, "Oh no, thank you." Thank you. No, thank you. And at that time, I was with an individual where the financial situation wasn't a good situation, and we were having daycare, after school programs, and all of that, and Pampers and food, and so that was not appealing to me at that time. So even as a breastfeeding mom, that still was not appealing to bring in 7 kids. I was like, no, we're gonna cut all this out. We're gonna cut this right now. The last one was it. No more room at the end. We were done.
Just to, because BGS asked, baby rabies. The thing is I didn't want to be I didn't want to be a teen mom.
Okay.
Like my parents. I mean, my parents tried to do the right thing. They got married. They divorced, separated before I could remember them being together. But I mean, they literally, unlike a lot of teen parents, I mean, my parents literally shared me 50-50. I was at one house Mondays, Wednesdays, and every other Friday weekend. The other Tuesdays, Thursdays, and every other Friday weekend. And they literally, for most of my childhood, lived across the street from each other. Literally, like one in one building, one in the other. When one moved to Meadowvale, which is an amazing city that was, much better schools and whatever, the other one came and moved too. They made sure that they were in the right district to get me into the right French immersion school. So, and they really worked together, and they hated each other's guts. But they could not talk to each other without screaming. They could not see each other, except when my mom cut her hand open, all of a sudden, my dad went to go and save her, right? So, but they hated each other otherwise. So, yeah. And so they showed me something. It's not, and I mean, my parents were often starving because they were trying to work and go to school and live in this really expensive area and make sure that I had everything and wanted for nothing. And I remember times like I thought canned mackerel and rice and ketchup and hot sauce was a delicacy. I really did. But I thought it must have been super expensive. And when my mom said that she wasn't eating any because she had a big lunch, I believed her. Stuff like that. So my parents did stuff like that. So I'm not saying like I couldn't have made it really young and whatever, but I saw the struggle they went through, and they didn't want that for me. And I didn't want that for me. So I wanted to be not as young as them, but I didn't want to be this old either, having my first kid. Honestly, I wanted to have my last kid by now. Because I wanted to still be a young, cool mom, right? I liked having a young, cool mom. So, I'm a little bit worried about being an old, dry up mom.
Hey, watch it.
You can be an old cool. You can be old cool.
You go old cool mom. Oh my god! Again, if anyone's seen Mean Girls, I've seen Regina George's old cool mom, and I'm not trying to be her. So,
she's an exaggerated version. Trust me, she is extremely exaggerated.
I mean,
I'm a cool mom. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, like.
Ruby, you don't want the dog to bite on you or anything?
No, and I can't even feel it because it's that plastic and Botox. No.
So you're not making the fake margarita? Yeah, of making the fake margaritas for happy hour. Yeah, no.
With a little flash from no. But the thing is now is that as much as I like every second that passes by, I feel like I'm getting so old to have the first one. How am I going to be? I'm going to be 40 having the fourth one. And, my husband's parents were, his mom was 40 when she had him. And I can see the age difference between like his parents and my parents. And like, it's a huge discrepancy for me. But I'm not going to allow that feeling to overtake everything that I have worked so hard for up until this point. As far as giving my kids everything possible, and it's going to be my sacrifice. So I don't want to be an old mom. I want to be a young, cool mom. Oh, well, I'm going to be an old loser mom. That's fine, but my kids are still going to get everything. So it is what it is.
Well, I always wanted to be, like my aunt, like my other aunt, when she was young, she was married before he passed, and they took their kids to travel. Like that's what I was dreaming about, like a caravan. I know, crazy, right?
You remember about a caravan?
No, not like a lot of kids. I said 5, but like she had like 6 kids, right? And they used to, I know, and it's amazing to me.
that they're all healthy and they're functional because their parents used to travel a lot. Their parents used to travel a lot. Like they spoke, like right now one of them speaks like almost 7 to 8 different languages.
Wow.
Yeah, like, and it was so cool. It was a different vibe, and I was like, yeah, I can deal with this. But then again, they were very free. Like both of them were very free spirited too.
Well, you have to be with that many kids. You can't be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
It's not possible.
Yeah. So, when people looked at me crazy for saying that, I was like, what's wrong? Like I thought it was okay. But then I looked at
it depends if you're in the city, if you're in an urban environment, man, anything over 2 or 3 kids, man, is like a headache. Like you're out in the countryside or where there's more room, it's not that big a deal. Like a small town, having 5, 6, even 9 kids, it's not that big of a deal because you don't have to worry about their safety and all the other kind of stuff. In the urban environment, keeping track of 9 kids, 5 or 6 kids, that's a lot.
So I guess it's basically urban areas.
If you're in a big city like Miami or New York or Los Angeles, man, try keeping up with 5 or 6 kids, especially in this.
You haven't met my great grandmother before she passed. She kept all her kids.
Yeah, but that was a different. That's a different time.
Well, that was a different time, though. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's a different time. I'm just saying, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, basically the environment was there for big families because you could actually send your kid to the corner store 2 blocks away and then have to worry about them. Now it's not as much. Okay, you have to keep a low jack on all your kids,
especially in Chicago. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Anybody else want to jump in? Char, Gigi, who else? Anybody else before we go on to the next topic? Anybody else? No. Bueller.
Bueller.
I was going. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you, Gigi.
Oh, hi. I was referring to Regina about helping people. It's been a mission for me. All my life. I don't know why, but every time I ask the universe to bring me a man that I can reflect and he can relate, it's always something bizarre that comes at me. So Regina was saying it's hard to help people because you take it all on you, basically. But it's okay if we zen enough, we can be strong and just continue the path.
Oh my goodness, please don't ever think that I did this by myself.
Okay.
I was truly blessed to have friends to step in that were able to help me, and because I was a strong believer in the village, because I was raised with the village, with somebody who if my mother wasn't there was somebody like, and it was an affectionate term, but I called her Aunt Dot. Who was there to watch me when my mother it was Uncle John, it was Miss Minnie, it was Miss Peebles, it was Miss who helped rear me. And then when it came time for my children to be raised, I wanted them to have that same type of feeling of a village as well. That if you can't come and talk to mommy, there's Auntie Trina. There's Auntie Rhonda, and these are people who are not biologically their aunt. This isn't. We're not talking about biological individuals here. We're talking about individuals who were there for them and able to say, you know what, you're doing wrong. Because I'm only surrounding them with individuals who have the same values that I have. And I know that if they saw them doing wrong, that they would step in. So I didn't do this by myself. I give credit to a lot of individuals.
Yeah, because all of my children are closer to another family member other than me.
Yes.
Like my son is closer to my sister. They both play basketball, right? So if he's got problems, he's the first person he will talk to.
He will go to. Yeah, you have to have somebody else. So please don't think that I did it by myself. I'm thankful.
Wow. We are parallel in what you're saying, except for me, I decided to be a lonely journey. You know, I decided to leave my house at 14 and do my life. So
okay.
Yeah, my imprint. Huh? No, I was saying my imprint was more natural, man. I'm always been very attracted to them because it's just simple, natural. There was not so many things in their heads. So that's what I relate all my life. But yet, every time, later on, around my 21, 22, I just married to. I always have somebody. I always have a nice road with what I want, but then there is something else that I need to do. So I'm always on a mission. Always on a mission. Until today, I'm still on another mission. That's mission number 3.
Wow.
And I cannot do anything about it because it's in front of me. That means that's what you have to do. You cannot just walk away from things when you ask something. Try to find somebody that you like because it didn't work out for the past 20 years with somebody, you know. And always just hold the boat and just you know, stay in line because that's the choice we made, and we have to stick with what we and finish it. You know, we can't just walk away.
Well. Now, depending on the situation now. Yeah, we have to, you know, acknowledge. You're absolutely right. Acknowledge when it's a
destiny kind of. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, but if it's not healthy, if it's not safe, if it's not, you know, if you're not able to move forward and you're not able to grow, then it's time to move on.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. So all young ladies, when you talk, make sure you know what you want.
Yeah.
And re-questioning and you know, exactly, because once you have the children, it is tough road.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's why we got to be careful who we date and who we lay with.
Thank you.
That's a number one thing. Because I'm like, that's what I was like, you know, dating. I'm still dating him, but I'm starting, like, as I'm getting older and the things I want to do, I was like, there's things that he wants to do and I want to do, and it's not gonna work.
Okay. That's what the courting process is about, to see if you're in agreement. So it's not about dating, you know, because dating is really about having sex.
Yeah.
But courting is about seeing who's compatible. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm doing. I'm recording each other.
Recording.
And I really wanted to talk to him today, but we were watching the movie Infinity War, which is good. I won't spoil
it. You're a dude, Daly.
I won't spoil it. But like, you know, we're
gonna spoil it tomorrow night though, because just in case anybody's listening, Artist and MC is gonna be on with me, so we're gonna spoil everything tomorrow night. So
yeah, I already watched it.
Since I told them wait off a week to give everybody a chance to watch it, but tomorrow night it's gonna be open season on Infinity Wars.
Yeah. But like there was a lot of things, like there's a lot, like there were common things we had. Yeah, we both like video games and stuff. Yeah, we do like doing other things, but there was things that I want to do. Like I honestly, I said to him, I want to live outside of the country.
You're a country girl.
That's a big step though.
Yay.
Yeah.
And Talia, those red flags that bother you over and over, don't ignore them, because they get bigger. They don't go away.
That's right. Yeah, especially for women. Guys kind of like, you know, Guys are a little different. They say, as long as she's not bothering me, I can deal with it. I'm gonna put her over there. But women really take those red flags.
We take it to heart. That's right, and we may store them, but it will still rear its head.
You guys carry them things like stones in a bird's beak.
We sure do.
And that's what I'm noticing about, like, I said, you know what, maybe, like, I do like him, but to be with him is like, I want to pull away.
No, but that's okay. It's okay because you're young. You're a young woman, and I think you need to learn to know yourself through him. And you are seriously. There's young girls that have been ran through because they don't know to learn themselves and to hold themselves in a certain kind of way.
They've been listening too much to Miss Kitty.
Yes. Let me listen to Miss Kitty.
Miss Kitty.
I really don't listen to her down there. It's like, nah, bro.
But an Asian dude a couple of months ago with a guy.
Oh, come on. Okay, yes. For FYI, he was Trinidadian Cuban. His mom was Trinidadian Chinese. His dad was Cuban.
But he knew how to speak Kitty.
But Kitty was slapping you around like, what are you doing? You know, what did she tell you? What
Yeah, but I told her, "Hold, Bessie, hold, Bessie, hold, Bessie.
Come on back here."
Go this. I've seen this route. I said, "This is the lie. This is defeat."
Love it.
We gotta get into that Issa Rae topic because I want to talk about that too.
Okay. Let's try to get the let's try to get to the last question, and then we can actually talk about the Asian.
Yeah, exactly.
And see, I know nothing about this Asian thing, so
it's not as much.
It's not Asian. It just had to do with what she said,
what
like
she
not
said,
the Asian, but with the undertone.
There's a lot of undertones that she said that guys that women kind of skipped over. Because
I did not skip over that one. I literally heard the word from word. That's like
because if you read the page,
I'm a dude.
If you read the page, somebody in manuscript could have actually written the exact same thing and been good with it. But seeing coming out of a woman's mouth, it's like, oh, did she really write that?
Did she really? Okay.
Write it? But anyway,
Charlie, but moving on. Okay.
Go ahead and give us the last question to the piece to the Asian guys, if you will, if you're there. If I can find it, maybe I'll read it because she put it up, but I. How long to have a good man? I want to have a baby. That's the last piece that I saw. Is that the last part of the question, Char? Because that's all I have. That's all I'm saying.
I think she's frozen.
There's three questions though.
We got three. Was there a fourth part, or was there just three?
No, that was one question.
Okay. Well, we can go into the Asian thing then, since we actually finished.
Okay, so I want to start with this.
You have one more thing to say?
No, I was just saying that I have the second topic. There were three topics for tonight. The Issa Rae comment, a comment was the third one. The second one is and it was voted. Why should women beware of older men who don't have children?
Oh well, okay. Well, let's go ahead since Issa Rae was part of it. Let's do the Issa Rae thing now since Thalia brought it up, and then we'll deal with the second question third.
Okay.
Sorry, I changed the tide, y'all.
Well, it's okay.
But like I had to get in. Okay. I had to get into Issa Rae's comments and what she said because a lot of it, and it really stems from a lot of dark skinned women. Because I never heard a lot.
You're flanging, Thalia. Give us some.
Say this, but hold up.
Closer to your source because you're flanging.
Okay, can you hear me?
That's better.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so when I heard Issa Rae say that comment, I said, "My God."
she like a lot of black women knew this, but she finally admitted. Now, mind you, I didn't have nothing against, anybody dating any other person outside their race. I was like, do what you do. I mean, I'm dating a Puerto Rican right now, so all that, and to me, like, it didn't, like, her thing with the Asian thing, I was like, I really didn't care, because, like, at this point in my life, I was like, I don't care who I date, as long as you vibe with me, I vibe with you, kind of deal.
Go. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, she said it the way she said it wasn't the fact that.
That's what I was getting into. It wasn't a fact about the dating Asian, but the fact that she said that the black women are at the bottom of the dating pool, and she lists the things why, and I was like, yo, she said that after and all these men said it, and I had to laugh because a lot of black women wouldn't admit it because yeah, it's true.
Yeah, because where she got it from, and I started to actually put this up as a corollary to the piece, is that there was OK Cupid. They actually collect data, and they have if you've ever been on the site, there's like 200 questions that they ask you as a questionnaire, and they actually sort through all this data, and they look at all the data from all the people that are on the site, and they actually have statistics and stuff like that. So what they notice is that they ranked the men and women on the amount of responses that they get, the preferences that they see on the site, and on and on and on. And it actually matches pretty close to what they see out in the real world, because they have like maybe 40 million people in their database. So it's actually a huge survey. And what
it was by state?
No, it wasn't by state. It was just by the whole people that are in their database. It was by ethnicity.
Okay.
And by ethnicity, they do by ethnicity, age, who you vote for, Republican, Democrat, how many kids. In other words, every category that you can think of is in their database. They actually select for it because they actually sell the data, sell their results to political campaigns and other kind of surveys, because they have such a big database. That's where they get the vast majority of their money, by doing this kind of stuff. So what he did was they actually posted First, he posted in 2009, and then he did an update in like 2014. And so, who's the most popular group of guys on the site? Who was the least popular? And what they found out over time is that amongst the men, by a wide margin, Asian men were the least likely to get messaged back or be preferred or anything like that. And
too watery.
Well, it's not even watery. They said that just because of the way they're perceived in the United States. And then the same thing as a corollary, black women were basically the same thing. What they did notice is that all men of all races are actually preferred by their own women, first of all. But I said as a group, how they're perceived. Who's at the bottom overall, and that would be black women and black men. That's how come she says that black women and Asian men are at the bottom of the dating pool, according to the data.
And when you mean that,
BJ, can I say something?
It's this statistic is based like on question. What?
Oh, no. It was based on questionnaires, but also because they track who you select or who you send messages to, and who you favorite. In other words, when you go to a dating site, you select the kind of people that you actually want to date or message. That's what they find. Go ahead, Kat.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, to me, it sounds like her just running, I guess, the problem, or suggesting black women should run away from their problems with black men. By suggesting that you date Asian men. First of all, I don't know why anybody would want to date a man who, if you walk into his store, he'll body slam you and pull your arm back and try to fuck you up. because you were quote unquote stealing eyelashes, but apparently that's supposed to be attractive to Black women for some reason. But
basically, she was talking about a specific group of Black women. She wasn't talking about all Black women. She was talking about the highly educated Black women. Speaking to, even though it kind of caused uproar, she's talking about upwardly mobile college in other words, the upwardly mobile in 89s and the 92s that are in that group. In other words, who is your likely counterpart because you're educated and successful and you're not wanted? Who's your counterpart? That would be on paper the Asian man. That's what she was saying.
Only,
but even then, that's still not compatible.
If you have to choose between an Asian man and a Hindu man, I'll take the Hindu.
Or West Asians, as they call them, are actually second behind white men.
Actually, the Hindu men are very handsome. Woman does not open eyes. Huh?
Ew.
No, well,
Indo-Pakistanis are not handsome.
What is it?
No, they're not.
One at a time.
The North India are particularly beautiful men.
You gotta remember where she's from, Kendra.
That's okay. I spent a great part of the last 20 years around Indo-Pac men. They are not.
But she's from Morocco though. She's from North Africa, so those are her men. Yeah.
The North and the tall Hindu man. Tall. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, Gigi, because she's gypsy, she's raised in Morocco. She's Indo-European. So the Pakistanis, the Indians, and all that, those are Indo-European men. So she's attracted to those men because those are her men.
She can be attracted to them. They just ugly.
I did not, Kendra. Check it out. I mean, maybe when we're around the small Bengalis, I'm talking about the North India.
Those are her men. Those are her men. So she would find them attractive. Just like a Filipino woman. A Filipino woman's gonna find a Filipino man attractive. Those are their men.
No. Not yellow. I cannot go yellow.
Well, no. I know you can't, but saying those aren't your men. Go ahead, Kendra, jump in.
No, I was just gonna say, that whole Issa Rae comment, she might have been, talking about the non-ratchet Black women should get with the Asian men or whatever. Asian men do not like Black women overall. No. They do not.
They do not. Yeah.
Black women are not attractive to most races of men, specifically because of the negative connotations and stereotypes that are attached to Black women.
That's what she was saying.
People think of Black women, they do not think of these beautiful, nice, calm types of women. Okay. And that is the fault of those Black women who put it out there and who act a certain way. And I would also put that on the Black women who are not ratchet, not speaking up. The taking up for her in all of her ratchetry has actually fucked me up as a unicorn, because same nigga. I'm the same in most people's eyes. I'm a Black raggedy bitch. Doesn't matter who I really am. I'm a Black woman. And so therefore, I represent all of what's on social media, all of the negative, twerking all in public, acting crazy, fighting, or whatever the connotation is. I represent that regardless.
Well, you know what the funny thing is that most upscale women actually like that stuff.
Regardless. That's the problem.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
They enjoy that stuff.
What do you mean?
No.
If you look.
No, it's not you. It's just.
No, if you look at things like Housewives of Atlanta, Basketball Wives, and all that stuff, who do you think supports those shows? They're not
a lot of Black women.
Hey,
A lot of them like
look,
you know, yeah.
Housewives
They're
of
not-
Atlanta is my guilty pleasure on a Sunday night when I'm doing
Uh-huh.
my nails.
See?
Okay?
See.
No, however,
My guilty pleasure was Flavor of Love.
However, I watch the show, and it's because I sit there and I do my feet and on my nails. I do my whole little pedicure, manicure thing, and I'm all ready for 10 o'clock to watch Housewives of Atlanta. Portia is beautiful, and
Portia is just like all of them.
She's beautiful and fake, and she gets to the worst dudes. Kendra is crazy as fuck, and that Matt dude is even crazier than Kendra.
See, because he co-signed that ratchet behavior. See,
exactly.
And who's the other one? Phaedra.
Mhm.
Oh, hell.
Phaedra is make my head hurt.
I told you.
But like you, you co-signed it though.
Yeah, you co-signed.
No,
Go ahead and finish, Vince.
I watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I watch it.
It's called co-signing.
But it doesn't know.
It's co-signing.
Yeah. It's not co-signing because I
give it a view.
But you
give it a
my
view.
life. I don't live like that. So
but this is what
let her finish.
Okay.
I watch it, but it's not anywhere how I've ever lived my life. So I watch it like, wow. Because actually, I listen to men on YouTube, whatever, talking about Black American women. Because don't forget, I'm not in the US. So I watch, I listen and see their comments and the venom about Black American women. I look at them and I go, I can see why.
You know what, Vix? I used to think that until I started watching. What is it? BK? Was it BK London?
Oh my God, the London stuff is.
In other words,
bad.
I was saying, I said, damn. I said, okay, there is a correlation. I see what the British guys are talking, because I have a lot of British men in my that are. They said, you don't know how bad it is.
But you know what? Men remember, the problem is in all of this is that men and women are both gravitating to the worst sector of everything.
Exactly.
That is the problem.
Exactly. And that's
they're
what
not
we're
seeing.
about.
They're not.
That's what I'm saying.
Me, Ruby, Kendra, you've got all these women with some damn ass sense, and Regina, sense in our heads, and even I always forget your name, but you're the girl in the red, and she's so cute with that little Panamanian accent.
Athalia,
yeah. And they're all smart. She's like young and damn smart. Yeah. But you know what? They're looking for the Instagram top tier bootylicious chick. Get what you get when you deal with those women. I have no sympathy for you for all the shit that you deal with, because that's what you go for.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about what they have to deal with.
Yeah. Trying to get in, Gigi, or is that Thalia?
Yeah, I'm desperate because, I mean, if I was like 20 again, that's fine. I could have eat a lot of hamburgers. But I mean, when I walk on the street of Berkeley, Oakland, California, or San Francisco, everybody's putting this biggest pom-pom as possible.
Of course. Yeah, that's America. That's America.
What the heck?
That's America. What I was saying, because I was jumping on the guys talking about Pookie and Ray Ray, and I said, okay, if I check your phone, what kind of music what's on your playlist?
Pookie and Ray Ray.
Pookie and Ray Ray shit.
Pookie and Ray.
You listen to the same music. You basically chase a co-sign on the same Instagram models behind our backs. Co-sign the same Facebook posts.
I mean, it's hard to compete.
Yeah.
No, like what happened? Go ahead.
Go
ahead, Thalia.
Oh, okay. So what I'm saying, like a lot of the co-signing is because a lot of them want to do it, but they don't have the guts to do it. A lot of these men and some of these women do the same thing. Like they say one thing and do another. It's a tongue-in-cheek thing. And I bet you a lot of cultures do the same thing. Because I said, like, listen, I look at a lot of these Asians, and a lot of these Asians try to look white. They really try to look like Europeans. And I'm like, you look nothing like a European. And I tell them blatantly in their face, you are not a European.
You'll never be a European, and the Europeans will tell you you won't be European.
But
But
wait,
do you know what, Talia? I was in was it 2013, 14, I think. I was in China. I was on a cruise, as you do. So I was in China, Singapore, Hong Kong, all of that, right? And I wanted some additional sun cream because it was actually really hot, and I didn't bring anything with me. And I'm a little light and bright skinned woman, so I couldn't find nothing because it's got all this lightening stuff in it.
That's it's worldwide. It's what no, they
got everything to lighten it. And I spoke to. I was in was it Hoi An, and there was this lovely woman, and she spoke English because most people didn't speak English. And I was watching these girls on scooters in hoodies, and it was sweltering. I was baking to death. I couldn't even deal with the heat, right? And my parents from the Caribbean. And I said to the lady, she was one of the coach guys on a tour that we were going to. We went to Sanya, wherever this place is. It's called Sanya in China. Oh my God, I thought I was in the Caribbean. It was the most beautiful place I've ever seen, right? And she was saying, I asked her, because she spoke English very well, I said, what is with the women? I keep seeing all these women all clouded in clothing. It's absolutely baking. They do not want to be dark. If you dark, you do not get a husband. So all their products, everything they have, skincare, sun care, everything has got whitening agents in it. I could buy something. I could buy something.
I've seen their makeup, and I said I have a lot of shit to talk about Asians. Like, y'all know different. Y'all want to be white people.
Yeah. No, but if you look at there was a documentary that I watched a couple of years ago about just in the local area for me, probably about 5 miles, is the Indian women, and they've got this kind of a shop, but then they've got another shop in the shop. And it's all about the whitening products for the Indian women. And also watch how that they make sure that when they're going to get married or they're looking for partners, they do their makeup. Like, say, for example, I will go to Bobbi Brown and they give me a shade. That shade is my skin shade. I'm a golden in Bobbi Brown, right? So that's my shade. If anyone can know what golden means, if you go and look at it. So that's my shade. It looks like my skin. Ain't no different to my skin. But the Asian and the Indian women, they're going for 2 or 3 shades higher than their skin color. Right? Because to them, that is better. And if they don't do that, they will not get a husband.
But also the Hans have very, very pale skin. You know,
that's true. Well,
if I can jump in here, though.
Go ahead, babe.
I think this part of the conversation, while appreciated, sort of gets away from what I believe is the crux of what Issa Rae is saying. When she talks about, well, since Black women are the least chosen and Asian men are the least chosen, they should might as well get together.
Get together, yeah.
But see, the issue is, in reality, is that Black women, that is a self-inflicted wound, being the least chosen, because in actuality, we are at sort of the top of the list when it comes to sexual attraction. It's not the physical attraction that's the turnoff.
No.
It is what all of our Black men have been saying the whole time. The attitude, the behavior, the disloyalty, and the insufferable need to compare and try to measure up with a white woman.
Exactly. So, but you know, it's a worldwide thing, and it's not.
Let her finish, Taylor.
Okay.
So this is why, you know, Black women are chosen last. We don't understand as a collective how to be a woman to our man. So it's a self-inflicted wound. And then the deflection is colorism. Well, nobody likes me because I'm dark skinned. which is a lie. Plenty of black men love dark-skinned women. Plenty of other men in other races love dark-skinned women, and also quiet as it's kept. And so we hide behind all of these different excuses, but what we won't do is actually accept the constructive criticism in order to make ourselves more desirable to our men. And instead of actually working on what needs to be fixed, her answer was, oh, just try to run to another man. The only problem with that is the other man doesn't fucking want you.
That's what I was trying to say in my video, is that because I live in a what they call around a lot of East Asians, because this is one of the bigger Chinese and East Asian communities probably on the planet outside of China. And I said I rarely see Asian men pick black women. They will pick white women. They'll pick it's like Asian women, then white women, then Hispanic women, and rarely do I actually see a black woman actually chosen by Asian man. And the reason that I found that the reason that the Asian community, as far as the marry out rate, is so skewed is because a lot of the Asian women are imported by men, by white men, by military guys, by black men. They're actually brought in as wives on a large scale. So that's how the marriage rate is so skewed. But if you actually look at native-born Asian men and native-born Asian women, 90% of the times they marry each other. Yeah, and they prefer each other. And as quiet as it's kept, the reason black women don't cotton to Asian men because they don't find them attractive.
Yes.
Most of them, most of them don't. I'm saying, so here's somebody like Thea that's attracted to Asian men. Even amongst yourself, you got to know that you're rare, right?
Yeah, I was rare because a lot of Spanish folks looked at me crazy.
Yeah. Even Spanish, even Spanish folks don't find Asian
men crazy. Yeah, like my grandfather laughed at me, and my Tuareg Syrian great grandfather laughed at me. He said, He's like, you might as well date someone from North Africa or like the Saharan.
Yeah.
Or a Bushman. He said that to me.
Well, it was probably true, even though Bushmen are very small. I found that out.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. But what she said is because a lot of women talking about that, focusing on the men being in jail and this, that, and the other. They left out the whole top when she said black women, our reputations suck.
Well, that's why I'm much more attracted by natural men, because there is not all this crap. I mean, they're men, if you're a woman alone, there is a man for you there who's going to take care of you, period.
Yeah.
Yeah. This whole at the end of the
yeah. It was like I mean, it was just new to me. As like, I just like them, not just like, it's not like an obsession. It's like when you like something, and I like other things too. I like other men. I really do. I like American black men. I just wish they didn't act like, some of them like the millennials today. When I saw the millennials you were dealing with, BGS, I was like so turned off. Like, is this the American man?
No, there is some good men.
And yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then I look at Angry Man and Charles and Cerulean. I was like, okay, there's still hope. There's still hope.
So some people stay awake and stay with good influence. It happens. I don't think everybody's. I was walking on a street today in Oakland. I looked at all kinds of men and women, and I think the young people are more fluffy today. That's all. They're just talking to each other more.
Fluffy. I like it, fluffy.
Yeah.
You go, G. Fluffy. That's a good one.
But with the Issa Rae comment to me was like, it was basically a reality that no black woman will ever admit.
But if you want masculinity, if you want to be a masculine man, if you were really a masculine man, you go more toward places that are more natural.
Yeah,
like Kenya, you're gonna find a real man. There was no that blah 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 and this and that and the money and this and that. You know, you're just like done.
Yeah.
But you know what, Gigi? Do you know what, Gigi? If I think back to my upbringing with my parents, it's going to be their 50th anniversary in June, actually, of being married. And when I think back, I've not even been married, and it's really funny because when I look back at my cousins, all of us girls never got. My brother's not married. My brother's like, hold on, I'm 50. He's 48. Never been married, no kids. 6'3", fine as heck.
Oh,
my brother is fine.
What happened?
I mean, no, but I'm sitting there like, because my brother decided he was so damn fine, he unpicked himself from anything. And my brother never even wanted black women. My brother, as soon as he got out of 16, 17, me and my mother, he didn't want no women like us. Right? So he's been chasing down European women, and it's still not working? Okay. That's something on you do, because if you look the way that you do, right? Because because he's been a model and he's done all this kind of stuff. He's a very attractive. He would be, if I was to look at him even now at his age, I would still
young
say he's
for a man.
8.
48 for a man is still
young for a man. Yeah, he's young for a man. But what he doesn't realize is when you get, unfortunately, for a woman it's her beauty. For a man, it's his money. It's his prestige and his social hierarchy, right? Yeah. And men, he's never worked that out, and I have no time to tell him. The reason why I was saying what I was saying about the context in the conversation we've been having is that I grew up in a very strange environment. Like you grew up in Morocco, so you've got a different thing.
I went everywhere. I walked out of my house.
I love listening to your story. You lived everywhere, and I love your story. But I've lived in this country, but I grew up as a black girl in a white environment. So it's been very difficult for me to get with most black men because they don't have the same mental of the same things that you're supposed to do
at
a certain time. So when people say, "What's wrong with you?" It's because the things that you want to do, I don't want to do that. Why do I want? I want to travel because I love to travel. I'm a frequent flyer miles girl, and they just don't understand it. It's made it really difficult. So when Issa Rae, and I've watched everybody, Obsidian, I've watched everybody. I don't even know how many niggas came out of the pot.
And they are.
Considering they don't want us, they don't care about us, they're not interested in us, how the hell you make that many videos? I mean, I literally had to say that to myself the other day. Hold on a second. I've watched about 10 to 15 videos with the Issa Rae and the China Man. I watch Solo TV. I can't stand that good dude. I literally listen to it.
You can't stand him.
I can't stand him. No. You know what? BGS. I was washing the dishes. I was washing my dishes, so it was background noise. But like you are all talking about the same women that you venomously on YouTube and everywhere show the world how much you hate us. But then you're worried about the fact that we want to go for a Chinaman. Or that we want to go for a white man. Because you know what? I'm different. I'm done. I'm done.
Wait, I'm backwards. You find all those YouTubers backwards, or you find them attractive?
It's so hypocritical.
I find everybody very attractive. I love it. I'm in my world finally. Oh hell no.
Oh, you like it, but look, I'm listening to what they're saying. I'm not looking at what they look like.
Sorry,
I'm listening to what they're saying.
No.
They don't like us. They tell us in the comment section.
No. He got it. I'm so sick of those feminine guys here.
Yeah. They literally, in the comment section, they literally will demolish us to the... I mean, I've never... heard such vile, disgusting comments. And sometimes I wish I could hold Rihanna's ears, that she doesn't have to listen and change her personality about the way that men are dealing with us now, right? And I'm sorry, but the women that you're going for, me, Shah, Kendra, Classic Ruby, she's married though, Classic Ruby, Regina, right? We ain't that chick.
I know, but the thing is, there's not enough.
Don't look like an Instagram model.
There's not enough of you. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's not enough.
There's not enough of us.
There is enough of us.
There's not enough of you.
But then
there is enough of us. But
we're gonna start a movement.
Look like what attracts your dick.
No. There's not enough of it. There's not enough unicorns out there. Unfortunately,
and that's the problem.
No, there isn't.
Is it not?
No, there's not. There's not. The women can tell you there's not. They can tell you.
No, living in America really shows you it's not that many.
Okay.
There's not that many. It's very rare.
iQuizzle said to me, if you were in America, you'd be married. But
yeah, you probably would.
I would retract that only because you know what it is? I come from West Indian parents, a West Indian mother, and I grew up and I'm a Generation X. So those three things, I think, make sure that I'm different, but it's still not enough because you still don't have the beauty standards. That's what it is.
No, it's not. It has nothing to do with the beauty standards. It really does.
No, it has nothing to do. Because
go ahead, Thea.
I've seen men go out with ugly chicks, and I asked them, and they say it's because it's a peace of mind.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because black men are have very, very wide. I mean, extremely wide standards of beauty. Extreme to the point that even Obsidian, we were laughing at him because he said he doesn't like out of shape a bigger.
Obsidian is not cute. He sat down somewhere a long time ago.
I know, Vic. It doesn't have anything to do with it. What I'm saying is, if you look at the kind of, he says one thing, but you look at the kind of women he says he likes, there are BBWs.
Yeah, exactly.
They're heavy chicks. So, go ahead. Go ahead, Ruby.
Okay, I'm gonna say the same thing now that I say to the educated lames or anybody who makes this exact same argument. To women, like the people who like you, and fuck everybody else. Who cares that there are people who talk shit about you as a black woman, as a dark-skinned woman, as a this woman? I don't give a shit. Do you know how much I don't know how many men like light-skinned women versus dark-skinned women? When I was dating, I didn't give a shit who didn't like me. It didn't matter to me. Why do you care? If I turn on a channel and it's just talking pure shit about Jamaican women, guess what I don't do? I don't keep watching that show. I don't keep watching that channel. I don't watch messages that are saying things that I don't agree with. I don't sit there and write them hate mail and give them extra energy or attention. I don't sit there and give them likes and dislikes and whatever to give them extra interaction. I change the channel. I don't subscribe. I don't comment. I don't ever watch that person again. You don't have to watch the channel. They aren't actually being piped into your TV and you have no choice but to watch. You have a choice. So at the end of the day, what we need to do is stop listening to the channels and all the messages of all the people who are in red pill rage or are just sitting there bitter because the person they liked in high school didn't like them, or whatever the fuck. Fuck all those people. Stop listening to those messages and listen to the people who are sitting there talking about how beautiful black women are. Because guess what? There's a whole bunch of those channels. I've heard all of those guys sitting there calling women queens. And as annoying as I find that shit too, I really do. At the end of the day, that might be the message you like. Go listen to that. But the point is, and because I really want to get back to this, the topic here. What I think is, and this is what it comes down to. I don't care what the statistics say and this and that, whatever, because they are looking at on average, this is what we see as far as black women, as far as they're being married and whatever. Fine. I have decided that I'm not going to be the average, just like I decided I'm not going to be a statistic. So I don't have children outside of wedlock. This is why I'm getting married before I'm having children, so on and so forth. I try to control as much as I can. So guess what? I'm not going to be the statistic. So I don't need to be the bottom of the barrel chick who can't get married and can't get men who like me and can't get this and that. I'm just going to go be that woman who is attractive, and then I'm going to like the people who like me. That's
if you look at the data, you look at his data. If you look at his data, guess who black men choose over a wide margin? The type of
black women.
Even after they've gone with white women.
80%.
Yes.
Even as far as the dating thing, they choose their women 80% of the time.
Right. And what did I say? I said that here. You can watch I told you, when black men are young, like in high school and whatever, here they date white girls. And guess what they do? They date white girls so they can fuck around and do whatever they're doing. And when they're ready to get married, they go find themselves a black
woman.
That's what happens. So you know what? At the end of the day, you didn't get dated in high school. Oh well, guess what? You're not in high school anymore. I bet you're
35,
30.
I'll come back behind Ruby and second everything she just said. Just like I gave him hell with that educated lane bullshit, I'm about to call bullshit on not being able to find no man. You can find a motherfucking man. All of y'all who have been listening here, all of you have been listening here to me, have heard me speak not so highly of my own physical attraction or whatever. And but however, it's still coming from a chick who got wifed up when she was young, with a successful marriage, and the chicks who were the hot shit back then, and our baby mamas, and all of that type of shit. And I'm not even saying that to be better than nobody. I'm saying I put out certain energy because I wanted a certain outcome. And so what I did was, even though I wasn't the so-called hottest chick on the block, what I did was I improved upon what I had. So therefore, instead of wearing the most baggiest manly clothes because I was a tomboy, let's try to feminize that up a little bit. Let's try to soften that a little bit. Let's try to make myself a little bit more approachable and not so hanging with the guys, but more so like you can be interested in me romantically too. It's not like weird, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. And so it's all about doing what you gotta do to get the type of attention that you actually want. So just like the educated lame say, oh, all the women are choosing Pookie and Ray Ray, and that's bullshit. They're actually overlooking the women who go for them. It's the same thing with, I'll speak this piece and then I'll let somebody else go back.
I was going to co-sign it because when I interviewed Kavina Man, who's the educated lame, first thing I asked him was, how many women did you turn down?
Precisely.
And what did he say? He said he turned down twice as many women as he accepted. So
exactly.
How many women do you need to actually say that that you were rejected? In other words, all it takes is one woman. All you need is one. You don't need 1,000.
All you need is one. Yeah. And see, and I call the same bullshit on women, saying, oh man, all the men go for the big booty. She gotta look a certain way. Yeah, he wants to fuck her, but he don't want to wife her. Okay, he wants to fuck her, but plenty of men want to fuck the whore because she's a whore. She's right there. She's throwing it at you. But that's not the woman he goes to for the wife, for the companion, for the peace of mind. That he doesn't go for her. And if he does go for her to marriage, he gets what he gets.
What do they always say? You never try to make what into a housewife?
A hoe.
You can't change a hoe to a housewife.
I keep telling women. I keep telling guys the same way. Men like sluts. Men love sluts. They just don't want to do what? They don't want to procreate with them or marry them.
Yeah.
Yes. Same thing with women and bad boys. Yeah, they want to take a bad boy for a spin, but guess what? When it comes down to getting serious,
you just drop them. Bye. Bye.
So don't get mad when she takes a bad boy for a spin. Is she the right woman for you, and vice versa?
Right.
If that's what you want, but if you don't want to get married and you don't want to have a wife or a family, stop getting mad saying you're rejected. That's not what you want.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Finish up, Kendra. I know I stole your thunder a little bit.
Oh wait, no, it was good. I'm pretty much done because I call bullshit wherever it is, and if I can talk shit to the brothers,
I love Kendra.
That's how we love Lady Kendra.
Me too.
That's so funny. Like it's so funny because like what she said is true. Like vibe with your vibe. Like for the past 10 years of my life, like there was like I was never surrounded by Asian people. I was surrounded by Arab people that wanted to date me, African people that want to date me, Hispanic people that want to date me. So I was like, you know what? Let me vibe with my cultures.
Let me deal with
something.
Vibe with them. With Bob, we dudes, man. I'm gonna say it for real. I'm an old nigga, all right? I'm an old nigga. I've been out in motherfucking streets, okay?
Oh,
dudes don't fall in love with a motherfucking tot. They fall in love with her kitty cat, okay? They're not in love.
She's got that thing.
It's that thing. And same thing with women. They get with them knuckleheads and can't let them go. It's not. They're not in love with him. It's Miss Kitty that's in love with him, but they don't want to see that. Let's be real with that shit. Stop with this stuff. Be real, man. That's why I say on my channel, be real. The women are real. That's what you want to hear. They're real. They're not telling you stuff that's made up. They're bearing their souls to you, telling exactly what they think. That's what.
And they don't. And you know what? I'm noticing they just.
Then you have more age.
One time. Go ahead, Vic first, and then Regina.
I'm noticing in the chat rooms. I'm on the chat room on my phone. I'm like, they just don't. They're all like, they just don't understand that that's how we feel about it. You know, it's not like we're saying anything that's rocket science. We're just not doing it in the way that you think. And the thing is, unfortunately, what's happening now, I've noticed, men are definitely, even though they can be the biggest whoremongers on the planet, they want this Virginia woman sitting there in a house on a run with their
because at the end of the day, I'm gonna tell you what it is. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what. At the end of the day, it's about trust. When you go to work, when you go do what you need to do, you have all your eggs in one basket, watched by that woman. Can you trust her at the end of the day? And that's what it comes down to.
Trust her for what?
Basically, because you have your finances, you have your children, you have your house, you have your whole life wrapped up into this woman. Can you trust her with that?
That means she can accept all your
one at a time.
That means she can accept your downside as well as your upside.
In other words, when things get rocky, will she bail? Because a thought will bail when things are rough because she's not there. She's not there for that.
She's not there for that. She's there for the money.
You can trust you as long as you come back to her.
No, the thing is, can you trust her? Because you're gonna come back to her because that's where you live. Where you gonna go?
Well,
that's true.
It's not about having sex with her, dating her, as we call it. It's about getting a Kendra, saying, "Look, woman, this is my house. This is my program. Can I trust you with my house and my program? Because I need to trust you because I'm putting my livelihood and my life on the line, and I'm putting it in your hands because I have to be able to trust you."
But that even comes
because you're not just my woman. You're not my woman. You're my co-pilot. If my co-pilot fucks up the goddamn plane, we both crash.
Yeah.
But that comes with. But for the man, for the pilot to say that comes with maturity on the pilot's behalf as well. So yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's what we're trying to teach the guys. That's what we're trying to tell them.
Yes,
because they're looking at Big Booty Brenda. And I can tell you from a dude that had 2 kids by Big Booty Brenda, it ain't all it's wrapped up to be. Okay? I wish I could show you the picture of my ex. Okay, she's very pretty, and she has a big ass, and basically she knew how to show it off. Okay,
what you say?
So I know about Big Booty.
We all had a fun time
I'm a no booty Brenda, and I love it because you know what? I've always loved it because I'm a no booty Brenda. Brothers sending me the air.
You know what? I just say,
love it.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is a lot of guys, especially what they're taught now, because sex has become so easy to get. You know, with
yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
I mean, you guys know. You know that the women are basically giving up their kitty cat out of both legs.
Yeah.
You had a phone conversation with them.
If a guy can't jump into, if a guy can't, a guy can actually jump into us and come back dry rather than be out amongst in the big city with women and not get laid. Come on now.
So now, let me ask you a question. Now, if you go on those little apps with around your surrounding and you sending something to a girl, she'll come down and you'll have a nice fuck.
You can be one of the ugliest, nerdiest dudes in a big city, and some chick, it might not be the chick that you want or the chick that's on your poster board, but some chicks are gonna offer you some sex. It might not be the one. The thing is, that's why I always ask guys. It's not where your ceiling is, where's your floor? And how many women did you turn down? How many women did you turn down? They say, blah, 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 blah. No, especially some guys that do. Are you a virgin? Well, no. So somebody didn't turn you down.
Right.
So in other words, you can't say that they all turned you down because you had sex. And if you had sex, somebody accepted you. So what happened to that girl?
But you know, BGS, the exact same thing is happening with women, whereby it's not that these women who are feeling like I can't get no man and blah 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 blah. They're getting lots of male attention. It's just not the male attention they want.
Yeah.
Right? And so at the end of the day, if you are getting a whole bunch of male attention, you're turning down, you're screwing your face up at and whatever, you can't say you're at the bottom of the barrel and your own men don't want you, or this kind of man doesn't want you, that because you don't want the men who want you.
Issa Rae was really specific about the type of women she was talking. She wasn't talking about all black women. She was really specific about a very small niche class of black women. Yeah. A very small class.
Closing thoughts, people. Closing thoughts.
Okay.
All right.
We didn't even get the last question.
Charles making sure after today that you were making. Charles was making sure after today's rant with that Kevin dude. I was cooking up in the kitchen. I was like, "What the hell is this?"
That dude is retarded.
He was hurting my head.
He was retarded.
You know what? I'm not. Because I'm not a millennial and I don't date millennial men. But if that is representative of the men that you women have to actually date.
And I'm so worried, like BGS. This is why I will have to go. I have to go back to my country. I have to go back to the country. I have to go back.
Okay. What do you say, Char? What do you say, Char?
I said, I hope that's your closing thoughts.
Okay. Sergeant Char. That's all we got. That's all, folks.
It's 7:09 in London. Wow.
This was heated though. I like this. This is heated.
The sun is coming up. Yeah. And I need to get to the gym. Lord.
Another successful show hosted by Sergeant Char.
Yay! That much Char.
It was lit, girl. It was lit, as they say in the USA. It was
lit. It's so funny.
So Char's on a roll, boy, because these shows have been smoking, boy. You guys coming with a lot of energy, so.
She found That's my friend.
I love Regina's voice. It's like it's even more dusky than mine. I'm like, damn, girl.
So anyway, Char, you got a thought, babe?
Besides my mic being mean to me today, I want to thank you guys for emailing the topics when you do. We're going to have them twice a month to have an open topic and have a guest twice a month. I put that in email as well. And I hope to get a little bit more feedback from you guys.
And also drop when you guys get an idea. I'm going to start doing more content during the week for you guys. So drop me notes when you guys see something interesting that you want me to cover a little bit, so I can get more content on the channel outside of just I know the people like the hangouts, but I like to do a little bit more. So drop me. You said I see something interesting. Just drop me a note. Yeah.
Animus.
Animus. Okay. All right. Animus. Yeah, some animus. All right. Okay. All right.
BGS, I will be there for Infinity War. I will be there for Infinity War.
Yeah.
And I'm.
Oh gosh.
If you guys, all the geeks talk about Infinity Wars, we're gonna blow the lid off.
You know what? I'm gonna Google it because I don't know what she's talking
about. Basically, the Avengers Infinity War. So
yeah. So like,
in fact, I'll leave you guys with the whole essence of the movie. Does the ends justify the means? That's the
does the end justify the means?
That's the essential question of that movie.
I found the trailer.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
I love my unicorns. I love my unicorns, and it's a relief after what I went through today with the.
Good Lord!
I don't know how you do with the men though. It's so funny. It's so funny. It's so funny, BGS, because now the reverse has changed. They always complain about the women being emotional. Now the men are being emotional.
Yeah, you noticed that, right? You noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you give them the opportunity, BGS, you've opened up a platform, and probably that's what's needed. You know, I don't think and just something to throw out there that they've not had the opportunity to express themselves, and I've heard men say that. So when they do, it may be a little bit more emotional than we expect it to be.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right, ladies. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
My sanity is restored.
So, thank you. I'm gonna take us out.
We gave you
Say what, Kendra?
We restored you with our feminine energy. That's what we did.
Soothing. Very much so. And you guys actually have come with a hell of a lot more logic than what I experienced today. Yeah. So maybe I whipped you guys into shape where you actually thinking through your animals.
Boy.
But I love you and appreciate you all.
Te amo mucho.
So,
go ahead,
Kendra. Take us out. Ruby, was you trying to say something?
Oh, well, I was going to give my closing thought.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I was just going to say that, again, you know, women, you need to start, because I don't give a shit about Issa Rae. She can say whatever she wants to do, whatever she wants. Same thing as Kanye. What I'm worried about are all the women who listened to this and said, yeah, you know what? I am bottom of the barrel. Let me go find the bottom of the barrel men. Because I ain't worth shit. Let's go find the men that ain't worth shit.
And that's a sad part.
Yeah, that was sad. That's what people didn't pick up on. Yeah.
Exactly. And so for me, that's the thing that really concerns me about that message. And it's not so much as the fact that she said that, because it's not turning the tide for some women. It's literally kicking into that thing that these Black women have inside of them that are telling them they're really not worth anything. And you know what? There's gonna be a lot of women that they got to do a lot of work to, you know, be higher up. But there are some women that honestly just walk around with that air of misery within them because they just think they're nothing. Even though, you know what, if they change just that one thing, that belief about themselves, everything else about them is great, and they could find that man of their dreams. And you know, I just really want women, if you're listening to this and you're like, well, I agreed with Issa or whatever, really check yourself and do some inner reflection, because literally you saying, oh my God, I'm garbage, let me go find some garbage because that's all I'm worth, is not the answer.
No, not the answer, exactly. Yeah. Kat, you want a closing thought, or are you good?
She said Infinity Horse.
Yeah.
Kat,
no, but I was gonna say, BGS.
Yes, ma'am.
You call me a heifer again, I will go to California with my blade.
You know what? Louisiana women will let you call them a bitch before you call them a heifer. That was my grandmother's name.
No, I don't like bitch either.
Yeah, but I said they were like bitches prefer the heifer. you know, for Southern women, because that means you're a cow.
Yeah, I'll admit I talk to other people like bitch all the time.
Yeah,
I'm not even gonna lie about that.
You can be a skinny bitch, but you can't be a skinny cow. So there you go.
Yeah.
Because my grandmother got angry at women. She called them heifers. So when I get angry, I say, "You a heifer," and black women get mad, like, "Will you call me a heifer?" Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like, I wanted to say something. I do not believe that majority of these black celebrities should be our voiceovers. Like, we black people across the board need to put people like Issa Rae, Kanye, and any of them in check. Like, for real. Like, don't even buy their shit. Because them Jews don't play that too.
To be fair, it was a book that she wrote 4 years ago, and somebody dug up that chapter and decided to put it out there because nobody.
Which is.
So okay. It wasn't like she promoted it as that message. Somebody dug it up out of her book and actually put it up on Twitter, to actually dig in on black men, and that's where it came from.
But then that's a self-defeating act.
Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah.
So speaking of,
yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I don't want to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, go.
Because I'm gonna take us out.
All right.
My closing thought. I guess everybody had their turn.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am. I'm been back up.
Cooking up oil while the hangout was going on. So it's hot now.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go ahead and.
All right. Well, okay. Well, go ahead. Jump in.
This message is for all the coons, bed wenches, stepping fetch ass niggas, okay? That come out of the woodwork every time massa ring the bell and give you permission to eat a butter biscuit. Just because Kanye's sunken place ass came out and said some dumbass shit about slavery being a fucking choice. All you dumb motherfuckers came out and agreed, yeah, Kanye is right. You dumb ass, fuck you. You know why you so fucking stupid? Because who does it benefit to scrub the ugliness of slavery away from history? Who benefits from that? Ask yourself that question the next time you open your fucking mouth to get on a hangout and make a fucking fool out of yourself like that idiot did earlier. Or you jump on Twitter or Instagram and say some dumb shit. Okay? Because these demons always try to scrub the ugliest parts of what they've done from their own history so that they can glorify themselves and they can be viewed as the saviors of some sort. And they waited until your dumb black ass was a few generations out from chattel slavery to now reprogram your stupid ass on a couple of things. The first thing was multiculturalism, which they do not practice. They just teach it to you. Oh, love everybody. Oh, that's to make you feel bad about not being able to stand they motherfucking ass. Okay? And then number two, to now downplay and then try to scrub the ugly blight of 400 years of chattel slavery of our ancestors from the history books. And your stupid ass, all they got to do is put a dumbass nigga in front of you to say some stupid shit, and you would jump right on the stupid ass bandwagon talking about they had a choice, they could have choose death. If they had all chose death, your black ass wouldn't be here. So what the fuck is you talking about? You will be the same motherfuckers that'll look at a black man get shot by the police, and then you will go over that shit with a fine-tooth comb talking about what he should have done to survive the encounter. You the same motherfuckers Okay? Talking about they should have chose death. You won't even fucking choose death. You don't want to take no L. You weigh hand and foot on the drippings of a butter biscuit from your fucking master. That's all the fuck you do, because the type of attitude that would make somebody choose death over bondage is the same attitude that would not allow a white man to come tell them shit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But you, on the other hand, all you want to do is socialize in with white folk. Newsflash, you stupid fucking coon. They don't fucking like you. You'll never be part of the good old boys. All right? No matter how you buck dance, no matter how you tap dance, no matter how many white bitches think you cool, you will never be white. You will always be a coon ass nigga. And let me tell you something else. It ain't no retirement plan for coons.
Ooh.
You got that shit? It ain't no motherfucking retirement. Ask Omarosa, do she got a retirement plan for cooning?
Masa, you gonna let me go?
Ask OJ Simpson, was it a retirement plan for cooning? You ask these
Bill
motherfuckers, do they have ask him.
Mm-hmm.
For all that motherfucking buck dancing and doing their bidding, what do they give you when they're done with you, when they're done using you to subvert your own kind? They shoot you in the head, whether that be physically, financially, ruin your reputation, or whatever they have to do. However they gotta lynch you, that's what they'll do. Okay? So I don't want to hear this stupid ass shit about, oh, well, it could have been a choice. They could have chose death. Do you know how many did choose death? You always relying on what a white man tell you about some shit. All they tell you about is Nat Turner and Denmark Vesey. And I'm not throwing no shade on them brothers, but you know why they talk about them so much? Because them two probably had the biggest effect on their ass psychologically. Like, these niggas will rise up and fuck us up.
For real, for real.
Do you know what they did? I challenge you to research what they did to Nat Turner's body after he was killed. The brutalization. They using his blood for mortar and for all this other kind of stuff. The desecration that they did to him. They try to make him out to be some type of criminal, like he was wrong for killing them. That's what they do. And here you are, you believe that shit like ain't nobody fought they ass. Our ancestors, that's all they did was fight. And then they endured for the hope that one day in the future, their progeny would not have to be slaves. And here your dumb ass is sitting on 2018 with all the opportunities at your fingertips that your ancestors never had, and you gonna sit your dumb ass there and try to cast aspersions on what they tolerated and what they went through? You disrespectful fucks. Because had he got up there and said that shit about some Jews, they'd have had his balls.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, if he had said some shit like being gay is a choice, the LGBT community would have had his shit excommunicated that night. But only a nigga would sit somewhere and co-sign some dumbass shit. And this is why we can't get nowhere, because we ain't got no fucking code. The only way we gonna get somewhere is we X you motherfucking coons out of the damn equation. That's how we get somewhere, because y'all the ones really holding us back. And that's my peanut oil for the night.
Woo!
Yeah. Jesus.
I hope we didn't burn Red.
May I just say that the angry ladies both support and endorse this message. That is
oh man, I don't think there's a follow-up for that one.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
We made Thanos. Wait. We made Thanos very proud
Ain't that right, Angry Man? We made you proud today.
He's gonna get it back. The angry ladies are in the house. But that takes us out. So
amen.
I will see you nerds tomorrow night. They're talking about all things Thanos and Infinity Wars. So probably be the whole 8 hours. It's gonna be deep. So
wow, y'all enjoy. Y'all enjoy.
We shall. But thank you for coming, and I'll see you guys next week. Also, drop me show ideas so I can put it up on the channel. So,
all right, send me the link.
Enemies.
I know. I got you. I got you.
All right.
All right, you guys. See you later.
Everyone. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
All right. See you.
Good night.
Good night.
Cheers, y'all.
Cheers.